What's up, everybody? I am chatting with Hutch, who might want to yell at me about Live and Learn on Monday. So we're going to see what's up with that. And that's about it. I don't know where he is. He's supposed to be streaming right now. Let me see if he's live. Bada bing, bada boom. In the meantime, how are all you doing? How's life? What's going on? What's happening? What's up? Got that perp wide up. Is Hutch live right now? Hutch isn't live yet. Hutch, what are you doing? You silly goose. Well, in the meantime, I'll just talk to you guys. So, what's up, man? I was hyped for you pushing the limits, didn't see you. Oh, so I got kind of sick that day. Sorry, I'm going to go on next week, probably not in person. So, sorry for announcing that. I'm not saying I didn't go on. I will still go on, but I was in Las Vegas and Hutch was... wait, hold on. Red Team Review is in the Hutch server? Hello? No, come back. Get back in here. Get back in here. Carmine, I know you were... Oh, you son of a bitch. Hold on. Let me remove this from the screen. Because now he's DMing me. What is he saying?
Enter.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to join. Come back. Come back. Keep us company. While I wait. Let's see. Let's go back to that server. Money. Thank you, Bulb Sweet Bulb, for the $5. Do you guys know, guys, if you don't know Red Team Review, he is well, I know him as a Game of Thrones streamer, or video
Us
maker.
company. You're in here alone.
I'm streaming.
Oh shit.
You're live.
Thank
Thousands of people are looking at your face right now.
Thank God you told me that. Oh,
Why? What were you about to do?
nothing. So what's up, man? So you've been enjoying Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Yeah, no, I feel the whimsy of like the first two seasons of Game of Thrones, and I know Preston. I've watched Preston's videos, which I've very much enjoyed on it. And he's doing his little nitpicky stuff, and I'm like, you know what, this is fine. I agree with these criticisms, but it's not ruining my enjoyment. Yeah, I'm like looking forward to the next episode. You know, like that's not something that happens often with Game of Thrones content. That's not how I felt about A Dance with Dragons. So.
You mean House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon, excuse me, yes.
It's funny you say that about Preston. I just finished editing the podcast we did, and I just removed this one part where he calls out Jack Pasabic, and I don't know if you know this, but Jack Pasabic doxed him.
What possible reason could you hate Preston Jacobs, like politically?
You don't know this, but Jack Pasabic actually wrote Trump fan fiction with Sansa.
Are you kidding?
I can send it to you right now.
Please send it to me. This will be great Hutch waiting room content right now while we're waiting for him.
I'm sending it to you right here.
I'm gonna read. Let's read it. Let's fucking do it.
This is something Jack Pasabic actually wrote about Trump being isekai'd into Westeros and possibly marrying Sansa Stark.
Oh my god.
But no, Jack Pasabic fucking doxed him because Preston said he didn't care that Charlie Kirk died, and because Preston works for the U.S. State Department, Jack not only doxed him and what he does, but also tagged Marco Rubio into the whole mix. So
Jesus Christ!
And Preston insulted him again. I'm like, you know what? This is gonna be on my channel. I don't want that smoke. I'm just gonna remove this part where you call him a pussy, and that's it.
Yeah, that's fair on Preston's part, but also like. Fuck Jack Pasabic. I'm saying it right now on my stream. All right, let's bring this up. Let's read this on stream. Let's see. Is this the whole thing, or is this just part of it?
This has
got to be This is the whole thing. All right. Are you ready? Can I read it? Do you mind?
Go for it. All
right. The first time Donald Trump locked. Fuck me, dude. The first time Donald Trump locked eyes with her, he built a tower straight to Sansa's heart. Sansa knew that he had won her faster than he had won the support of the Night's Watch due to their similar views on immigration. Named Lady of Winterfell and Warden of the North after King Stannis won the Iron Throne, Sansa's next duty was to find a suitable husband. She needed someone strong, someone with the resources and know-how to rebuild the war-torn North. The Donald was all of those things and more. The way he held himself as a true lord, the way he spoke with confidence of a great leader, the way his hair fell onto his forehead and neck and ears, and kind of on one shoulder but not the other. Yes, He is the one for me, thought Sansa. This is not tongue-in-cheek. This is serious.
So he had a website where he wrote this, like a blog for Game of Thrones back when
Uh-huh.
it was airing, and then he eventually deleted this, but of course the Internet Archive exists.
Oh my
So
god, dude. This has to be a joke. There's no way. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they gas Trump up, but like the talking about the way his ear, like his hair falls, like there's no way. Um, Still, she could not give away her affection too easily. Many others had come calling to woo her hand in marriage, and the years since Sansa had ordered the quartering of Daenerys. Oh my God! Ravens had flown from as far away as Prince Chastain at in Sunspear, and many had arrived. Many had arrived. Okay, so he's making typos in his fanfiction. Many had arrived from Lord Theon on Pike. She had instructed Maester Samwell to respond with only vague courtesy. They were ardent callers, but not right for the First Lady Stark of Winterfell in her own right. A hasty marriage to the Donald, however, and rumor and folly would spread throughout the lands, and the specter of another war would rise. Sansa glanced back from the window well at the Donald. I can't believe in the story they call him the Donald. This is insane. Who was sitting backwards in one of the wooden chairs. Sitting back, he's doing the Riker thing where he sits backwards, like with he's like straddling this chair in one of the
mhm.
wooden chairs in the Great Hall. Listen, Sansa, I know this is a big decision for you, he started, but let me tell you something. We will be phenomenal. I will cherish you as much as I cherished my first two wives and my own mother and my daughter even. I have many women that work for me. I'm going to do great things for women, great things, very, very, very good things. Sansa replied, that you may, but what will you do for the North? The North? Look, and now what I mean is I will be huge game changer for the North, huge. I mean, I am very, very, very smart, and I have a lot of respect for the Northerners, but I've put a lot of blood of the first men to work in my castles and keeps, and let me tell you, they absolutely, demonstrably love me. They love me. My whole body is ready for this. I'm not just saying this. Sansa Stark, I'm gonna do it. He smiled and put his big red hat that said, Make Westeros great again. But what of the threats from the east? Sansa implored. She was growing impatient at this Pentashi's landmonger's boisterousness and needed definite. Wait, hold on. Did Hutch just bring me in? No, okay. Pentashi landmonger's boisterousness and needed definite answers. She wanted to marry him so much that her heart was about to jump out of her chest like Mola Ram in the Temple of Doom. Wait, what? Why would you make a reference to Indiana Jones in
He
your
wrote this back in 2015, by the way. I just want to
How
make that clear
was
to
he like
everybody.
15 when he wrote this?
I don't know.
I don't know how old he was. This is so bad. They were both beautiful. They were both gingers. It made so much sense. Even still, she put the needs of her people above her own desires, unlike the idiot Daenerys, who was now quartered, in case you forgot. Threats from the east? Donald Trump threw up his forefinger, as only he could, and continued. They're killers. They are killers. They are. I'm glad you bring it up, because China, 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 China. Okay, it's tongue-in-cheek. It's gotta be. China, 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 chinny, chinny, chin, chin, chiru. Yes, that is an issue as well, Sansa broke in. But I also mean the
Yeah, that's
rising.
a problem, by the way.
Yeah,
That's my favorite part. Yeah, that's an
Sansa,
issue.
yeah, Sansa knows about China. Guys, just if you're joining us just now, Jack Persobiec has written a Game of Thrones fan fiction, and by has written, I mean back in 2015. But also, I mean the rising chaos in Slaver's Bay. One, the Misa abandoned the cities she had conquered. The former slaves rose up in a blood orgy of brutality and violence and installed one of their own, a new emperor, just like Haiti. Why does Sansa know what Haiti is?
You know.
Oh, yeah. Now their vengefulness is spreading across the continent, and they have brokered a treaty with the Dothraki. The whiners, those slave losers, they're losers. What a bunch of goofballs. And be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you, Sansa, they're boring. Daenerys, she did an absolutely horrible job. She should be ashamed of herself if she were still alive, and she was an extremely unattractive woman. But I wouldn't say that because I'm always politically correct. Now I will crush them, just crush them. There's so much going on with these buffoons here in the realm, so much, Jaime Lannister apologized to me the other day. He did, but I will not accept his apology. I will be suing him for a lot of money. What an irrelevant clown. He thinks he can be Lord Commander when he doesn't even have a hand. Look at him, he sweats, and he shakes nervously as he talks about me. He has zero cred. See, Trump wouldn't say cred. This is ridiculous. He would say he has zero credentials, zero. And I hear that sleepy eyes Davos will be fired like a dog. I can't imagine what is taking so long. Then Stannis did really poorly on television this morning. I hope he's okay. I do. Because I love him and he's a good guy. But he needs a new pair of glasses. At that moment, Sansa knew. She walked over to the Donald and stared at him deeply until he stopped ranting and looked down at her. He's so fragile, so vulnerable, she thought. He stepped back and brought up his hand, putting it into his trademark thumb and forefinger to deliver her to the snap words so many had heard before. But just before he could, she grabbed his hand and laced her thin fingers in with his. Staring into his eyes, she said, "You're hired." Okay, so that was awful. Sansa is, and correct me if I'm wrong, 16 in the books at this
She's
point.
about like 12, 13, around that range. Like
God.
12, 13, like around that range. Yeah.
Oh, good.
The show, this is something a lot of people don't understand about the books versus the show. In the books, Daenerys is about 14 years old when she gets pregnant with Khal Drogo. Obviously, in the show, they aged her up to be 18, along with other characters.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, but in the books, which this is a fan fiction of, she is
mhm,
14 at this point, right? Like this is
mhm.
well, maybe Jack was trying to tell us something, just like all of the other secret agents within the Trump administration that have been just winking at us and being like, "Hey, he's totally a pedophile." This is what Jack meant. He was like, "By the way, guys, the Donald, as he so calls, absolutely a pedophile." But holy shit.
What I didn't realize about Jack Pasabic until somebody pointed it out, I didn't know how far the whole saboteur role thing he did went. He was the one who started Pizzagate?
Yeah. No, well, it was him, it was Mike Cernovich as well. But yeah, pretty much.
And he also went to a bunch of like a protests where leftists were, and he held up a sign that says "Rape Melania."
Jesus Christ, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's really behind a lot of this like saboteur bullshit thing. He's always done this. I didn't know this until several people started pointing it out to me. I'm like, God damn, this fucking guy's insane.
And he
Holy
cheated
shit.
on his wife on Bumble. I do know about that. That's why they call him Bumble Jack. So,
Is that I didn't know
yeah.
that. That's actually news to me. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's a lot of Jack Persobiec lore. And allegedly the mastermind behind End Wokeness, the Twitter account. I don't know if you've ever seen that. But
Yes, I have.
yeah, so like he uses that as like his his silencer, his alias, so that he can post more awful things there. And it seems to be that according to, I think it's Ryan Macbeth, did an investigation of like when the account posts and when Jack Persobiec posts, and like he can like show all this like data that lines them up as like the same person, but not
I saw that video. Yeah, that was actually masterful investigation from Ryan. Though lately he's been on some bullshit with the protests happening in Minnesota. I don't know if you've seen his latest stuff.
I haven't. I have seen his like weird Venezuela stuff about like actually it was justified because there might be some vagaries that point to the fact that there were long range missile weapon systems there, and he's the
Hmm.
only one saying this. But yeah, I mean for the most part, he seems to be at least smart enough to try to do an analysis. So I don't not like the guy. By the way, a lot of Carmine fans in my chat. People know who you are, so um, yeah, I'm a Carmine fan.
Every now and then there will be someone in my server who will be like, "Hey, how do you know this person?" I don't know. I just
I
I don't know it.
I think I messaged you. You guys were doing a Daredevil watch through, and I was like, "Oh, I want to talk about Daredevil," and I messaged you, and that's how you found me. So that I believe is our connection. I know you because I watched Preston Jacobs all the way back in like 2016, because he was like
Really?
the only person who was like, "Hey, this sucks," and I'm like, I was surrounded by my coworkers that are like, "Wow, did you see the cool episode where the wall was it was so good?" I'm like, "No, it's awful. Someone please see that this is awful." And then Preston Jacobs is like, "This is awful." I'm like, yes, I'm not crazy.
I've been wanting to get more YouTubers who don't do Ice and Fire content normally, like just you or Josiah. Like I would love to have you guys on with me and Preston because we for House of the Dragon seasons 1 and 2, we would have on like several of the other Ice and Fire creators and
Yeah.
other people in the fantasy space, but I also want to bring on and expand like our sphere of YouTuber friends. It's just he's been so busy
Yeah.
doing other stuff, suspiciously taking a vacation in Colombia around the time Venezuela got invaded. So,
Huh.
uh, hmm.
Preston, what's going on there? What is it? I mean, I don't know if he's allowed to say. I know he works in the government, but what does he actually do?
He works as an auditor for the State Department. I'm pretty sure I can say that. He said that multiple times on his
Okay,
stream,
yeah, so he's not like, planning a fucking coup or anything. He's like going in, it's
or
like,
so
all
he
right,
says.
we got one Maduro, check, 700 Saturn missiles, check, just making sure we have all that. So,
This is what kind of like maybe I'm just being paranoid, and maybe that comes with the territory of covering this crap. But there's a guy that he's in my community and in my server who I know for a fact he works for the NSA. He won't confirm it, but I know he
hmm,
fucking does because he's like let slip certain things. There's another guy that I swear is either FBI or CIA. I don't know, man. And there's someone who worked for the Department of Defense who's also a fan of the channel. I don't know. I feel like they're closing in on me.
I know what you mean.
they
Yeah,
they know.
yeah. There's only so much you can obfuscate, but I mean, like, you talk about the government, you talk about the CIA. It's like these people are people with lives, and they watch entertainment, so eventually, they're gonna, cross over at some point. I think we had I forgot who we were talking to, but we had like the son. I did like a movie podcast, and we had the son of like an like a Secret Service person on or something, and
Mm,
his dad was like part of the like Trump assassination team, or not the team to assassinate Trump, but the team that was like protecting Trump. Um,
hmm
and yeah, he said some not great things about Hutch's Trump's kind of performance during that attempt, and how it could have gotten all of them and himself killed. So yeah, it was very interesting. Oh yeah, Jonah. I see Jonah in chat. Jonah, this is Carmine of Red Team Review Game of Thrones lore of YouTube channel fame. So I know him through Preston Jacobs.
By
Oh,
the way, are
you talk to Preston often. I have not talked to Preston in person. I remember
hmm,
he was defending Captain Marvel back in 2018 when I was watching him, and he was like, it wasn't a big movie because of Endgame. It was a big movie because it's a big movie that people were excited to see. And I demanded at that point, I was like, Preston, you got to acknowledge, no one knew who this character was. This is hyped because it's the middle of the biggest Marvel event ever, and people want to get any clue as to what's going to happen next. And then when Captain Marvel 2 came out, and it bombed because no one likes Captain Marvel. And by no one, I mean most people don't. I was like, Preston, will you finally admit that the Captain Marvel success was because of Infinity War and not because of Captain Marvel? And he's like, no, the Marvels failed because of like COVID stuff. And I'm like, come on, it's been so long. No, you have to admit it. So tell him I challenge him to admit that Captain Marvel only succeeded because of Infinity War. But
I am inclined to agree with you, especially after Captain Marvel 2 failed. So you can tell him yourself, man. Like I told you, I'm down to have you on the pod. We can talk ice and fire, whatever you want, politics and all that stuff, whatever you want to do.
sure. Hi, Amos.
Okay.
I haven't started with Hutch yet. Carmine is apparently a Hutch watcher as well, so he's just keeping me company. Um, so I don't even know what Hutch
I'm
really
assuming.
wants to talk about. I'm assuming it's about Monday's Live and Learn, where I probably like helped Vadim out more than he wanted me to in like their little debate. But
I'm assuming
yeah,
about the Hassan thing, right? Because I saw Hutch on Twitter going in on the what Hassan said about not voting for Gavin if Gavin's the guy.
yeah, but I don't think he wants me on specifically for that. Because it's just going to be preaching to the choir. We'll have a little circle jerk about how we're like, yeah, Hassan's just wrong. Because I don't know how you feel about that. I mean, we could talk about that if you're interested. I think the whole like I won't for vote for Newsom and the general is insane. Like it's like, what do you mean? Like I agree he's not ideal. I want a more progressive candidate, but like you're telling me if it was him and Trump, you'd just be like, yeah, whatever. Like I'll vote third party because I don't like Newsom. It's like, dude, these are like, to me, this is demonstrably different outcomes are going to happen, and the fact that you could like even compare these things is insane to me. But
No, we're in complete agreement. I think everyone in the history of time and space wants like their perfect candidate. But if the primary happens and that's the guy, then that's the guy. Like I think it was you who said on Twitter, um, Gavin Newsom is so much more preferable than a Republican candidate at this point,
yeah,
especially after Trump.
it's like not even close for me. It's like people are like, oh, lesser of two evils, and I'm like, no, no, no. Like it's a good candidate versus a horrible candidate, and like no, he's not the best. I probably would want more of like a Rokana type over Newsom as I see it now. But like it's like, okay, do I want the guy who like might move a little center on a couple issues and then also be super progressive and left wing, or Trump. Like, how can you look at all the stuff that's happening with ICE, all the stuff that's happening with the economy, USAID being dismantled, our judges being ignored, the Supreme Court getting stacked, and it's like, yeah, but that's the same as like if Gavin Newsom was president. It's like, no, like not even fucking close. I just don't understand where this comes from. Like, the only way you can see that, and I do understand this, if you step back and say, I want a stateless, classless, communist society, then these two things are very close insofar as they're very far away from communism. But like, one of these is way better, even if you're just getting on the way to being communist. Like, who do you think? Unless you're an accelerationist, I just don't see that happening. So, yeah, I'm.
It feels very selfish and very, I don't know, like, pardon my French, but very cunty. Because Hassan really doesn't lose. He's rich. He really doesn't gain much or lose anything from having Kamala have won or Trump winning. Like, for example, like, I didn't vote for Kamala because it benefited me in some way. I'm a white guy, like I don't have a uterus, so abortion shouldn't really matter to me. I'm not gay, so gay rights doesn't really matter to me. I'm not trans stuff doesn't really matter to me. But I voted for Kamala anyway because she would have been better on those issues because I care about my family and friends and neighbors and the people who live in this country who those things affect.
Yeah, it's the
Like,
same for me, where it's like my life is not demonstrably different under a Trump presidency. Right? Like my personal life, right? Like my taxes don't change. My groceries, like grocery prices, I'm wealthy enough in the sense of like a $5 bottle of milk doesn't change from a $6 bottle of milk to me. Like it's like, okay, this
right.
is not going to make the difference as to whether or not I can afford milk. But you know what? My friend's family are at risk of being deported right now. I have trans friends and family that are like can't get the care they need potentially, depending on where they are. Like people who are having to move states because of abortion shit. And it's like, yeah, this is very much affecting people I give a shit about that would not be happening under a different presidency. And I understand saying these things, these harms are marginal compared to the overall conditions that will lead to fascism, which they think the Democrats are enabling. I don't agree with this, but like I understand that argument. But the idea that, well, if we vote for Democrats, then we'll get more fascism isn't, I just don't see this happening. And it really pisses me off. It actually makes me angry now, but yeah.
You might be annoyed with me for this, but man, I really want whatever Dem candidate we get, I really want there to be, I want that person to promise some Nuremberg style trials for all the pieces of shit who are however, I will say this, there has to be one tiny little caveat. This is where you may disagree with me. Nuremberg style trials for everyone in the Trump administration except for Trump. Because Trump has proven that he is invincible. God wants this man not only alive, but to also to escape accountability. That is nuts. Okay, fine.
I see why you're saying that. Where it's like, oh, like would it even matter if we went after him? Maybe it would embolden him. But someone made the argument. It's like we can't run on prosecuting our enemies, which I understand. But we can run on accountability, sort of thing. Oh, this is not a private channel. I just realized. I'm in a waiting room with.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
Well, you didn't have to say. You could have just let. No, you're fine. No worries.
Oh, I see it. It's it's. I don't know if you realize this. Hold on. Listen, it's February. You can't be saying shit like this. Okay.
Oh, is it Black History Month?
Yeah, last time I checked.
Sorry, I've been watching the John Doyle Black History Month series, and now I know that every black historian has lied. Harriet Tubman wasn't like true. Black people have never invented anything. Yeah. Black Wall Street was all black people's fault for being violent. And redlining isn't true. I'm still watching. He's got a few more weeks left, but I have to learn the whole Black history from him. No,
glad we got
God, that shit is insane, dude. It's so funny. He's so soy. Have you seen those clips at all, like popping on your feed or?
I haven't. No, I don't get a lot of racism on my feed.
Well, he's with the Blaze now, and the Blaze has always been like kind of like subtly racist. Not like like for Republicans, right? Like they're not like Nick Fuentes, but now John Doyle's on, and John Doyle is just like a racist, like just straight up. So he's just on there, just like black people didn't do anything, and fucking Harriet Tubman, she was a mentally damaged like person. How could she have rescued 70 people? So it's getting pretty.
That's wild.
Pretty
statement.
open.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry
I am the
you guys'
Fox.
conversation.
No, you're good. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you're fine.
Sometimes I
By
have
the way,
to pretend racist.
How do I say your name? Chris C?
Yeah, it's just Chris. I don't know.
Fantastic setup, man. Thanks,
man. Thanks,
that's a true man's house right there. I got like a bed on the floor and a TV, and that's it. That's all I got. Maybe a Mountain Dew in the back, and that's all I got.
I'm gonna mute real quick, guys, because I got some chats. Thank you, IMS the Fox, for the have some milk. Hey, I said it was $6, but no, I'm joking. It's fine. Thank you very much. I also don't buy milk. I don't drink a lot of milk. Chill House Mixes, thank you for the 6 Euros. If AOC is the candidate, I will vote third party. That's how you counter insane leftists. Yeah, but that's the thing is like it won't. Like obviously I'd vote for AOC. But yeah, if you say that to them, like what I haven't even done this because I'm just not stupid enough to even like turn their argument around. But I'm curious if like I guess I haven't even heard what their response would be. But I think they think that this is already happening, right? So sorry, Carmen, I had to mute to read a chat.
Oh, no worries, man. You're working. I got you. I got you.
Have you ever heard like the response like if you say like, all right, but if AOC is the candidate, I'm voting third party. Like, what do they say to that?
You know what? I've never heard of that, but I feel like AOC is more liked than Gavin Newsom is.
Yeah, in general, but it's also one of those things where it's like they believe the system's already against them. So like when I don't know if you remember this when it was possible in 2016 that Bernie was going to win, there were some establishment Dems that were like, I could potentially vote for Trump over Bernie. Like Bernie would be disastrous for the economy. And so there is a narrative and a through line to people saying like these people will never like support the Dem candidate, so why should I ever turn it around and support them, right? Like they already believe that bias exists, so you couldn't really turn it around on them, if that makes sense. But yeah,
Honestly, homie, what I'm really sick of hearing is the fucking Gaza thing, and I think Hutch hit the nail on the head. He recently had a conversation with someone about fuck, I forgot the guy's name. Guy was unhinged though, and he basically brought up USAID and how there was a study, I think, that said that there were possibly going to be more people dying due to the lack of USAID funding. And I guess
millions,
and he
yeah,
was
like
just throwing it.
more people than the population of Gaza, which is not to say that Gaza is like a small problem, but to say that like
Mm,
in the same way you can moralize about Gaza over the election, you can moralize about USAID, and
yeah,
you have just as much legitimacy. Yeah, are you quoting the conversation that we had on Monday? Like I'm in that conversation. I don't know if you saw a clip, but I'm in the corner. I'm
I
featured.
saw a clip a couple days ago, and you might have been. I don't need to go back to it, but you might have been in there.
I'm
I
wearing
think
sunglasses in
so.
the top right. I think you're talking about when he was talking to Vadim and Ogre Boy. Yeah. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Is it true that Ogre Boy guy has a fucking tattoo
Dude,
of
I don't
Hassan?
know, but if he
Enter.
does, that's so fucking funny because in that conversation, he's like, I know you guys are gonna laugh at me, but I'm not a Hassan simp. Like, I'm not a Hassan defender. It's like, dude, if you have a fucking tattoo of this guy, I do not believe that at all. Not even close. Like, I love a lot of things. I love my mom. I love my family. I would never get a fucking tattoo of them. And if I wouldn't get a tattoo of any show. I would never get a tattoo of a politician. If you have a tattoo of a streamer, you are a simp. I'm sorry. You've permanently etched that person onto your body. You are tied to them forever. So, Ogre, do you actually have a San tattoo? I see him in chat right now. He keeps saying Ogre is just fine. I'm sorry. Ogre Boy is a cool name. Like, it rolls off the tongue, but I will keep calling you Ogre. Ogre, do you have a Hassan tattoo? Yes or no? Answer the question.
It's a simple yes or no. I mean,
He also has one of Kaepernick, but pop off. Okay, but Colin Kaepernick even makes more sense to me. He's like a person that symbolized like resistance against a racist institution. But like, dude, you can't call yourself not a Hassan defender and have a Hassan tattoo, dude. Like, there's no way that these things are congruent. Like, you are tied to this in a lot of ways. Get that Griff. Thank you for the $5. John Doyle feels like the type of guy who got bullied in elementary and now is airing out grievances. Dude, Griff, you have no idea. There's some things I won't say just because I mean, maybe I will one day because I talked personally with him before we and after we went on to pool. But like, I've seen the photos of him like high school and he looks about the same. And I know for a fact he got like bullied probably by some black kids, and that's why he's so fucking racist. Like you can just fucking tell. Also, thank you, I
yeah.
am the Fox, for the extra dollar for milk. I appreciate it. Um, Brevity. Ogre is okay, yeah, but Ogre Boy isn't that much shorter.
Enter.
Can I get a tattoo of the guys? If any of you, thank you, I am the Fox, for the $5. If any of you got a tattoo of me, I just want you to know that I would actually like look down on you and respect you less for doing that. Like, I'd be honored in the sense of like you like me enough to do this. I would respect you less. If you showed up to a convention or a meetup and you were like, "Look, it's my soy pill tattoo," I'd be like, I would be grossed out a little bit. I'd just be like, "What the fuck? Why? Why would you do that?" Like, I don't
Unless
like.
you're a really hot chick who's totally down. But other than
No,
that,
that would be
like, no.
worse. I might not want to sleep with someone because I'd be like, you are mentally unstable to the point where you like worship me sycophantically, and I do not want that power dynamic. That would be like that would almost be like statutory rape, in my opinion. Like, not even joking. Like, that's fucking weird. Misleading thumbnail? No, Hutch is supposed to have called me. He said he was starting at 2. It's been half an hour. I don't know where he is. But I'm in the waiting room for him right now, Ogre. So What if I did it? Jonah, if you did it, I know it would be a joke. So I would just laugh. But also I'd tell you to get off. Get off your high horse, buddy. You okay, you can get a propeller hat, but if it's a reference to me, that's still a soy pill tattoo. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm gonna call Hutch. I have his phone number. Here we go. I'm calling Hutch on stream. I'm calling him out.
Bro, if you need me to bounce, I can.
No, 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 no,
No
no.
problem.
This is fine. This
Your
this
call
is
has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach is not available.
what is the have you ever
At the
heard this
tone,
before?
Please record your message. When you have finished
We're leaving a
recording, you
voicemail,
may hang
guys.
up.
Hutch, this is the Soy Pill. It's Niels. We're in your waiting room. Stream is waiting for you. Carmine's waiting for you. Ogre's waiting for you. Where are you? He said 15 minutes in his Discord. All right. Well, we'll keep you more entertained for 15 minutes. Yeah, no, stick around. Let's go back to the Night of Seven Kingdoms. Fuck politics. What are your thoughts on? I really liked it. That it started off as like a small story, and part of me is like a little bit like seeing as it transforms into like a bigger story that involves like a king and like a battle to the death. I almost would have liked it if it had just been like the competition and the tourney was it, and the stakes were just does he become like a honored knight or not. But I didn't read the book before, so I don't know if this was like ever an expectation that was supposed to be there, and that's just like me projecting. What are your thoughts?
The book. So he wrote it back in 1998, and
It's
back
that
when he
old.
wrote it,
Oh my god. Okay.
yeah, when he wrote it, it was just a story. Now we don't know what's going on with him. Ira Parker, the showrunner for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, has added other stuff from the Game of Thrones universe into it, like the Blackfire Rebellion is this other thing in the background,
Yeah.
and that's why the small folk rioted. You know, they're so sick of these Targaryen wars and their bullshit. It's a little bit of racism since they're like not, you know, Andal culture. It's just like a bunch of stuff happening behind the scenes, some political stuff, yada yada. It's a good adaptation. The basic premise of the show is that Dunk is not really a knight, but he acts more like it than all the other ones who are knights.
Yeah, he
So-
told that imaginary person to stop raping, which I don't think a knight would do.
True.
They'd just be like,
Um,
whatever, everyone rapes now. What's that? What? It's medieval times. Who cares?
If you like the small stakes story, season 2 will basically be that. Because season 1 is about this. The heir to the Iron Throne is involved, so it's become like a whole big scandal.
Yeah.
And therefore, yeah. If you like small stakes stories, season 2 will be that. Season 3 will not. It'll again be somewhat of a big ordeal. But we haven't been greenlit for a season 3. So far, I think they've been doing very good with season 1. I quite like it. I have these little nitpicks every now and then, like Preston does, but for the most part, it's been a very good adaptation. Better than Game of Thrones season 1? Fuck no. Both were good, but I think season 1 Thrones was amazing.
Yeah, better than seasons 5 through 8, like undoubtedly, for sure.
I need to make a video of why season 5 is hated on unnecessarily. I think season 5 is fucking fantastic.
What, dude? The Sand Snakes are in season 5.
Yeah, but that's just like one tiny part of it, you know? Like,
Okay,
there's
hold
so
on,
much
hold on,
good
hold on.
shit.
Okay, wait. Two things. First, I see someone in chat asking why I punch left so much. First of all, I punch left a decent amount, but you know what? I also have like one video on my whole channel that is actually punching left, so I don't do that much. Second of all, I'm going to go through Game of Thrones season 5 episode list. And we are going to see what actually fucking happens. Do you like Hard Home?
You
Do you like
forgot-
that episode?
It's a great episode.
I don't like that episode. That's my hot take. I
Whoa,
don't
very
like Hard Home.
unpopular opinion.
I don't like.
Why not?
Because it's so performative. Like, it didn't feel like the stakes were real. It felt like a spectacle for the sake of spectacle. Like, I hate the part where like the little kid zombies like stop and look creepy before they kill the mom. Like, that was so lame.
That's fair.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna bring this up on Wikipedia. We've got let's see. The Sons of the Harpy plotline is awful. The fact that Barristan got killed by like 5 guys with daggers, that was silly.
In the books, he is not killed. He goes on and he leads
I
the
know.
defensive marine.
Isn't that much better? The books were much better. The House in Black and White stuff I really didn't like. I guess this wasn't Terminator Aria yet. That was season 6. I did not like the High Sparrow stuff. I like the High Sparrow actor, but for the most part, I found this stuff to be very boring. I didn't like Hard Home. Oh my god, all the Ramsey being like this invincible, like guy, that was super silly. Um Stannis, I think the Stannis plotline was butchered. Yeah, no, I hate season 5. What's your defense of season 5?
Fuck, man. Once you put it that way, holy shit, what is my defense of season 5?
Yeah,
I gotta
did I
go
just
through it
remind
again.
you? Did I remind you of all the
Oh,
terrible stuff?
holy shit. Oh man. Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go back through this shit. I don't. I feel like I had some good redeeming things that outweigh the
Name
bad.
one other than Hardhome right now. 10 seconds, go.
One other than when Hardhome.
Hmm.
Fuck. You put me on the spot. Oh, I love the I love how Cersei's arc is basically her trying to prove to everyone that she's Tywin with boobs, but she's
Mm,
not. And it starts off episode 1 of her ascending power, going up to the Sept to lay her father to rest, and it ends with her coming down from power, stripped of it, quite literally. I kind of like that a
okay.
lot.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, yeah, the last episode is the Walk of Shame, right?
Hmm.
Okay, I did like the Walk of Shame. That's fine. All right, okay. There's some redeeming qualities. Like it is a gradient of trash. I will say this. It's like season 5 wasn't like total dog shit. It was bad, and there were some good parts in it. Season 6 also had a couple good parts in it. I liked the Sept exploding. That was cool. Uh, I liked some things. Season 7 was mostly awful. Season 8 was completely awful. So it was a downward spiral.
Mm. That I can't really complain with. People, season 6, I really didn't like, man. In hindsight, there was some good stuff in it, like season 5, but fuck, what happened?
Yeah.
What happened? And what annoys me about like the conversation around the last few seasons is that Dave and Dan have proven that they're pretty good at what they do, or they used to be. And I guess they got tired of doing this after so long. That's why I'm kind of afraid for Night of the Seven Kingdoms, because Ira Parker was giving outlines to like 10 other Duncan Egg stories by
Mm.
George. And George's only written 3. So he was given outlines to 10 other stories, and Ira Parker's like excited to get to work on them, but homie, how long until you kind of like get tired of doing the same thing for 10 years? Because Dave and Dan did. They got tired
Yeah.
of it.
Well, isn't that the thing where like they had a Star Wars trilogy lined up and they're like, all right, let's just wrap up season 8. I know you'll give us more time and budget to finish this off, but like just, whatever. And then this is the end. Bran had the best story, blah, blah, blah. Okay, give us Star Wars. And it was so bad that they canceled their Star Wars.
What's funny is, do you know the drama between George R. R. Martin and Ryan Condal, the showrunner to House of the Dragon?
No, I have heard that he has less input in it now, though.
So, 2 years ago, after season 2 ended, George R. R. Martin put out this Toxic Butterflies blog post, pretty much kind of trashing House of the Dragon and where it's going to go because of like all these decisions they're doing.
Hmm.
And it was like a huge fucking thing. And, and he didn't do that for Dave and Dan. He didn't do that. George didn't do that for Dave and Dan. He didn't trash them. Dave and Dan haven't said much in regards to the ending to Game of Thrones. They've kept their mouths shut.
Dave and Dan
And
kind
then
of forgot about the ending to Game of Thrones.
I mean, they're trying to. Everyone keeps reminding them. they think doing Three Body Problem on Netflix is gonna wash that stain away.
Well, what did you
Mm-mm.
think about Three Body Problem?
It was fine. I'm not a really big fan of Three Body Problem. I did
Hmm.
watch it. A lot of Game of Thrones actors. It was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was
It was
decent.
fine.
The books are phenomenal in my opinion. Like they're very fun sci-fi, like sci-fi, actual sci-fi, like with good fun sci-fi concepts. And I think
Hmm.
they're tackling them decently. To expect Game of Thrones season 8 quality, uh, maybe has that tailored my expectations to be like, okay, as long as it's not dog shit, I'll enjoy it, and it's not dog shit. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. But essentially, you're saying he didn't talk shit about D&D to the extent that he is about the House of the Dragon guy.
Exactly. And I think slowly we're figuring out why. And I think the reason is that season 8 contained a lot of what George intended to use for the
Mm.
books. For example, most recently at Comic Con, for showcasing Night of the Seven Kingdoms, George was there on stage, and they were doing this thing where they bring up fans on stage and they knight them, and he knights them. And this woman comes on stage, and George asks her, "Do you want to be a lady or a sir?" And she goes, "I want to be a sir. I worked for Brienne." And George laughs and goes, "Ha ha ha! That's not in the books yet." Oh, so that's not a Dave and Dan idea. That's a you plan on doing that. Interesting. Okay. And we've been slowly finding out that like certain things that he planned in the books, he gave some of those ideas to Dave and Dan. For example, Theon's sister Asha trying to rescue him in season 5.
Mm-hmm.
That's not in the books, but we found out. I mean, I found out that he originally planned on doing this in the books before he scrapped it. So he gave some of his scrapped ideas to Dave and Dan. So
That's interesting. So, like, he almost blames them less, maybe you think, because they're using his ideas that he scraps when he's like, wait, this is dumb. Like the Ramsey with no shirt fighting off a bunch of, like, armed soldiers.
you can't talk shit on Dave and Dan when they used most of your ideas, is the mentality here. So,
But that's the thing
yeah.
is, like, I could tell you right now, this is how Star Wars goes from episodes 4 to 6, and you could fuck it up easily, right? Star Wars was almost ruined just by virtue of being what George Lucas had made, and then it was saved in editing with music and cut scenes and like a little
his
bit
wife,
cleaned up
yeah.
dialogue, by his wife. So like, yeah, the idea, but like no one's watching the Game of Thrones and is like, it's bad only because of this plot. It's like, no, it's like the execution is awful too. Like the presentation doesn't make any sense. The logical jumps, the fact that like time skips in ways that don't make sense. Like there's a lot of problems with it that aren't just the story beats. Like, yeah, maybe Jaime going back to Cersei is like dumb. But like there's a way that this could be good. Like in the same way, like you could write him as like an addict that just can't break the cycle. So I don't know. I don't think they don't deserve the blame, but I can understand him having less smoke for them because it's like, well, a lot of the heat is really my fault. So
He did say several times that he needed to finish. He's needed to finish the books before they caught up, and he just hasn't done it. I think you should. I don't know if you've read it yet, but last month he did or 2 months ago.
the blog post.
He did last month. Last month he did an interview with the Hollywood Reporter, George R. R. Martin.
Wait.
I think it's
Oh, and you cut out for me. Okay, go back. Sorry.
George R. R. Martin did a interview with the Hollywood Reporter last month, and I
Mhm.
think you should definitely read that because it's possibly one of the saddest things you'll read in regards to this franchise.
Mm.
Because he talks about the Dune creator, Frank Herbert. Are
Yeah.
you a fan of Dune?
I love Dune. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a fan because I've only read the first 2 books. But I love the new movies. I like the original book, and the Messiah is okay.
They're great. And George actually spoke to Frank Herbert. And when George spoke to Frank Herbert before he died, Frank was saying how he wasn't having a fun time writing Dune anymore. And the interviewer asked George, "Do you feel the same way?" And George is like, "Yeah, I feel the same way, kinda." Like, that's a tough pill to swallow. Holy fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't think he's gonna finish it?
I have hope. I have copium reserves of copium that he'll finish wins, but it's not looking good. It's not looking good. At least he's on Ozempic, so that's bought him some more time. As fucked up
Okay.
as that is to say.
No, yeah. I mean,
So,
like if
and-
you got less health problems, sure. But like, do you think he's even writing it? You know?
We'll see. I have an idea that I recently came to the conclusion that I think he might put out one more Dunk and Egg story, because so far we have 3. I think he might put out one small Dunk and Egg story.
Enter.
The Village Hero. And what I think is going to happen is, at the very end of the story, it's going to be a very simple story. It's not going to be intricate, not going to be crazy. At the very end of the story, everyone who reads this is going to all have the sense that this is the last thing he'll ever do. George won't make it explicit. He won't make it subtle. It'll just be an ending to the story. It'll be normal, but something in the fandom will tell us that, yeah, this feels like the last thing.
Yeah, you get like in the book itself, there's this weird like kind of meta right off into the sunset thing going on, and you're like, like what is George trying to say?
Well, even in Dance of Dragons, you kind of felt some of his despair, kind of specifically with the Barristan chapters. There's one part in the Barristan chapter where Barristan says sometimes he dreads going to sleep because he feels he might not wake up. And I'm like, oh man, what do you? Is this him saying it? Is this you saying it, my dude? What's going on here?
Little projection there. Oh, hold on one sec. I got 2 more chats here. The Trib, he's saying Toriyama did this with Brawly, like Brawly from Dragon Ball Z. I don't know if you know this or if you read Dragon Ball or watch Dragon Ball.
Huge fan.
Yeah. I do like Dragon Ball a lot. It's one of my favorite like shonens. Like Brawly apparently was not his idea, but then he brought him back into like the DBZ canon apparently, which is cool.
Yes.
Thank you for the 5. And then Josiah is actually in chat and he says, "Where's Hutch?" And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know where he is. Oh my god, you're such a lib, Josiah. He says, "Answer me, Imperio." That's the most lib thing. Making a Harry Potter reference. Now tell me, Trump is Voldemort, and we are Dumbledore's army. I don't know. He said he'd be there at 2. First, he said he would be there at noon, and then now it's 2. Yeah, Josiah, come in here. Come talk with us. Keep us company while we're waiting. Or are you busy with your family and your wife and your great dog and fuck you? Why are you happy? Why do you get to be happy and have things? Um, yeah, I don't know why he's taking so long. Favorite dog breed? If I say German Shepherd, am I gonna look like a Nazi? I kind of like Huskies a lot, so I'm waiting for Hutch Trash Dan. He said he'd be here at 2. He's not here. He's 45 minutes late. Who's the best Game of Thrones character? I haven't thought about this in a long time. So my favorite in the book is Arya, but
Hmm.
in the show or just like in general, I kind of like Stannis the best, except after season 5 and the way they I feel like they kind of character assassinated him, but I don't know. What's your take, Carmine? Who's the best Game of Thrones character?
I love Littlefinger. I just love characters who aren't like super strong, but they're just super smart and they move the plot just by like moving pieces on the board. I love characters like that.
Yeah.
So Littlefinger. But I also love Robert Baratheon. I don't know, he's such like a frat boy douchebag. I have a lot of friends like that. So.
Strong then. Josiah, go to the Hutch server, the Hutch Discord server, into the waiting room, please. Rob Stark's not bad. See, here's the thing. I don't know. I think Preston's one of these people. Apparently people were like nitpicking changes as early as like season 2 with like Rob Stark stuff, right? Where it's like, oh, this isn't like in the books. It's not as good. I never noticed that stuff. So
The correct answer is Tywin. The correct answer is Tywin, obviously.
Tywin's
Charles
Ben
Dance.
Shapiro's favorite character.
really?
Yeah, swear to God. That's Ben Shapiro's
No,
favorite
I don't
character
believe
for
you.
all the reasons you think.
No. Ew, no.
No.
Really?
I don't like. Why do you
Yeah.
like Tywin? Do you just like him because he's smart? Do you,
Hang on, I gotta Google this. I
I swear to
reconsidering everything.
By the way,
No.
Tywin has one of the best moments in the entire show. This is Dave and Dan at their best, completely original. It's season 2 when he's talking to Arya and he's talking to her about her father. He's not knowing it's Ned.
This is
and he
fake
goes,
news. I'm sorry, real quick. You really fucked me up. You had me like I was in an early midlife crisis. I'm googling Ben Shapiro Tywin, and I see no evidence that. All I know is his wife's a doctor, gang. That's it. But I do not.
Swear to God, he
see-
said Tywin. I swear to God.
If you can produce evidence,
I will
we can
find it for
reconsider
you.
everything.
I will.
wait, why
Ben
is Tywin the
Shapiro-
best though?
in the show,
Yeah, like he's a fun, confident character, but like I don't like him the best.
fun, confident.
No, he is, but he's
Okay,
also like a
okay.
huge hypocrite and like a terrible
Yes,
person.
and that's what
like,
makes him. That's one of the things that makes him such a great character. He's okay. Let me unpack this for you. Tywin in the books is surprisingly popular, but nowhere near as popular as he is in the show, thanks in large part to Charles Dance and to certain creative liberties taken by Dan and David. Okay, they definitely made the character much more likable. I would argue that Tywin Lannister is one of the very most complicated characters in A Song of Ice and Fire, given his otherwise limited role. Remember, he's not a viewpoint character. He actually features in the books very little, except for scenes, with Tyrion. I think, as a matter of fact, I think the Tyrion chapters are the only chapters in which Tywin appears.
maybe a Cersei chapters too. I don't remember. Or
I don't
Carmine
think
would know.
Cersei got viewpoint chapters until the book after Tywin died.
That's true. Not
Somebody-
until Feast with Crows.
Yes.
Feast with Crows. That's
Yeah.
true.
So when you read the books and you get a lot of Tywin's backstory from like Kevin Lannister, or you read the World of Ice and Fire compendium and stuff like that, and then you combine it with what we got in the TV show adaptation. So here's a guy born into privilege, but his house was on the decline because of his very weak but very affable father. So even though the Lannisters were still the wealthiest, house in the realm, they were almost the realm's laughingstock. Like they were treated at a level not commensurate with their wealth and privilege. So Tywin grows up with daddy issues. Like all of his kids have daddy issues, but he himself is a profoundly insecure person who has as much daddy issues as his own children. And a lot of people like gloss over that. They think that Tywin is this very embodiment of confidence. But the thing is, he is actually a profoundly insecure person. He has the great line in season 1 where when he's addressing Jaime, he's like, a lion doesn't concern himself with the opinion of the sheep. But if you actually read the books, and you even see it in the TV show, Tywin is obsessed with what the sheep think, right? That's why he does what he does. When Tyrion is kidnapped, he hates Tyrion. But why does he basically triggers the War of the Five Kings because he doesn't want the honor of the house affronted. You can't fuck with it. Tyrion's a Lannister. You can't fuck with the Lannisters. People are going to laugh at us. So he's still obsessed. He's still basically that little boy, still really upset and insecure with the fact that his father was laughed at. And he's simultaneously the most powerful person in the realm. And yet he's a beacon of insecurity. He is a beacon of hypocrisy, right? So he takes Tyrion to task for his whoring, but it's really more about the public display of it because Tywin himself was a whoremonger behind the scenes. He forces his children to marry for strategic value, but he himself married for love. And then when his wife died, he never remarried, even though it would have been strategically beneficial to House Lannister.
Yeah.
And
he hoarded
and
around.
so he's and again he hoarded around behind the scenes. And so he's also obsessed with legacy. He's like one of the few characters who actually cares about something beyond just power. He cares about power, but for him it's about how he will be remembered, and that's a fixation of his both in the show and in the books. The Ringer, the website The Ringer, had a really good write-up when they were heading into the final season of Game of Thrones. They had a list about the best Game of Thrones villains, and Tywin in the show came in number 1, and they made a really compelling case that unlike the Night King or Cersei or others, Tywin, as a benefit of his privilege, is the only character who's like forward-thinking about, how will I be remembered? And so he has a different motivation compared to a lot of other characters. And yet he is the person who sets his family up for total disaster because it's very much a house of cards, right? So they're the most powerful house as long as he's alive, but the second that he's taken out of commission, the whole thing fucking collapses. So there's so much dramatic irony there in how his legacy is one of it's much more transient than Ned Stark's legacy, even though Tywin was a much more competent hand than Ned Stark ever was. Ned Stark's legacy is set to, extend beyond him in a way that Tywin's isn't. Just an amazing, amazing character. And then when you get to the show...
You sold me. He is the best villain. I think I can agree with that for sure.
100%. And yet he's so good, he convinces so many fans that he's just like this cold, calculating utilitarian. He's not. Roose Bolton is much more of a genuinely cold, calculating utilitarian than Tywin ever is. Tywin presents that publicly, but he's just a seething, raging nexus of insecurity and rage. Like what he did to the King's Landing during the sack of King's Landing. So he sits out the war because he wants to play the kingmaker, right? So he doesn't know initially who's going to win, King Aerys or the Loyalists or the Separatists under Robert Baratheon. And once it becomes clear that Robert will inevitably win, he plays the kingmaker scenario, goes to King's Landing. But what he does to King's Landing, he violently sacks and rapes the entire town. It's just pure wrath. Why? Because he's pissed off at Aerys, because Aerys humiliated him when he was Hand to the King, putting Jaime in the King's Guard, refusing to marry Cersei to Rhaegar Targaryen and all the shit. So like, he's very much this vindictive piece of shit who will simultaneously lecture Joffrey. Hey, Joffrey, when your enemies go to their knees, you have to offer them a hand and lift them up. Otherwise, no one will ever surrender to you. But he himself violated that rule with like the Reigns of Castamere, right? He just wiped those fucking houses out, didn't give them a chance to surrender. So I don't know. He's a terrible person and a terrible father, but a fascinating, intricate character, especially for the fact that he's not a main character. He's not. People talk about how complicated Cersei and Jaime and Tyrion are, but they're main characters, so you expect that sort of depth and dimension from them. Tywin is as deep and has as many dimensions, if not more, and he's a supporting character.
I'm sold. You've upped my Tywin. My Tywin.
Fucking
love.
cold, Josiah. How the fuck are you not doing a Game of Thrones channel?
Dude, listen. If I tried, so I have a Pondering Politics channel, and then I have Pondering Pop Culture, and I've done exactly one video on it. And I remember when Andor came out, I was gonna try to get in on the TV reaction shit, and when I uploaded the first video, it got copyright struck, and I could never figure out how how the algorithm works, because like these channels are successful, and yet they're able to have their videos without either being demonetized or without them being just nuked because of copyright. So I was never able to figure out like how many seconds you could show a particular scene or whatever. And by that point, I had my hands full with politics, and so I just gave up. But
Yeah.
Homie, it's I can promise you it's the flip of a coin. So every now and then I use footage in my Night of the Seven Kingdoms, House of the Dragon stuff, and some HBO is weird. Sometimes they will copyright claim it, sometimes they won't, and I'll just try to like fill it with stuff that's not. Because someone in my comment section recently asked me, "How come you're using the same footage over and over again?" It's the only footage they'll allow me to use without it being copyright claimed.
bro, holy
There's
shit!
nothing I
I'm
can
just
do.
looking at Discord now because I saw Red Team Review in the chat, and I'm like, dude, he should jump in here. It's you! I didn't even notice. I wasn't paying the fuck attention. What's up, buddy?
How
Wait,
long
what?
have you've been in here for like 10 minutes, dude? You didn't know it was Carmine?
Yeah, no, it was me.
No, fuck because when I was watching your stream, I just see his little icon. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
but
It
that's an
doesn't show me what
iconic
the name is.
icon, the hunter with the two
Well,
thumbs
yes.
up. Yeah, I
Yeah.
always recognize.
I
As soon as I
guess.
see that, I know it's Carmine. Also,
Well, that's why
I
at
have
first I
a
thought it was Hutch, but then I heard who it was. I'm like, that's not
dude.
Hutch.
My chat has been waiting 56 minutes for Hutch to fucking get on. All right, I don't know where he is. Anyway, I have a super chat from Decepticon, and he asks, "Do you agree with them removing Lady Stoneheart?" My personal opinion is, because this plotline is barely borne out in the books, I have no idea if it was a good idea to remove her. But if he didn't give notes on where the fuck that was going, then yeah, it probably was a good idea to remove her, because like, what are you supposed to do past where it ends in the books, which is like, all right, Brienne kind of just started encountering her, and like her motives aren't super clear yet, like what her end game is, or like how much of oh my god, why can't I remember her name? What's Ned's
Catelyn.
wife's? Catelyn, yeah. How much of Catelyn is still in her? Like, all of this stuff is yet to be answered, and like, it's just kind of done now until Winds of Winter comes out. I don't know if you should have included this in the show.
Yeah,
No,
it's hard to say.
The show
Go ahead,
had way
sorry.
too many characters. It had way too many characters. The guy who interviewed George for Hollywood Reporter last month, he wrote a book, Fire Cannot Kill the Dragon, The Making of the Television Show, and he interviews all these people behind the scenes. One of the main problems they had with season 5 was they needed to start killing off characters because they had 23 named characters that they were jumping between multiple times. Bringing back Catelyn as Lady Stoneheart would have added even more fucking characters to the mix. They had to wrap it up in like 3 seasons. They had to get George in that interview. George talked about how he wanted to kill Sansa off in either Winds or Dream, the last book, and he only stopped doing that because he loves Sophie Turner's portrayal so much. So even he's having problems right now.
It's funny because you mentioned Lady Stoneheart and Catelyn, and I thought I read somewhere that I could be making this up. This could be just my headcanon, that one of the writers, and it may have been David or Dan, said that part of the reason they also wanted to preserve the significance of the Red Wedding, and so like resurrecting Catelyn, who was a major casualty,
That's
would
fair.
undermine that. And that also made me think another reason why
Owl,
again,
that's so
Tywin's such a
funny.
great character.
Yeah,
is, like,
Hutch is late 'cause he's
even,
shaving
like,
his
the Red
head.
Wedding. The decisive move in effectively bringing the War of the Five Kings to an end. People talk about how it was tactically shrewd but strategically foolish because you're violating guest right, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing. But even the way Tywin went about it, he was the one who orchestrated behind it. He made sure it was Walder Frey and Roose Bolton's fingerprints all over that shit. Right now, obviously, they were rewarded for their betrayal by the crown, so you could insinuate that Tywin had something to do with it, but he has plausible deniability. He's like, I had nothing to do with it. These two did it on their own volition. I might as well reward them because they took out a rival claimant to the throne. But like even that shit, like he's just very, very cunning. And the show, certain show scenes, like his conversation with Oberyn Martell in season 4, episode 3, Breaker of Chains, his conversation with Tommen, the Socratic dialogue about what makes a good king. That's a great scene. In season 3, George wrote a specific scene. I think it's in The Bear and the Maiden Fair, where Tywin confronts Joffrey in the throne room, which is not in the books.
Okay. All right.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Yeah,
Hutch brought me
it's
in.
great.
Where am I?
Damn,
Where am I?
poor
Where
Red
am I?
Team
Where?
review.
Hutch,
Who's
Hutch.
the R? Oh, they left.
No.
Yeah, we were having a great Game of Thrones. We were your waiting room became a Game of Thrones thing.
Oh, okay. Don't talk about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms because I haven't caught up
I've
with
not
it yet.
watched it. I have absolutely no
okay.
fucking interest because, like, full disclosure, I think House of Cards has been just meh, just been very underwhelming.
It's much better. It's House of the Dragon.
Dragon?
It's much better than House of the Dragon.
Oh, is it? Oh,
It's
okay.
it's like genuine. Like I'm looking forward to the next episode. I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
House
but
of
the
the
only
Dragon,
reason
I'm
sorry,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
House of the Dragon's pretty fucking good, but the I feel like the cliffhangers for the seasons are not great. They don't finish strong.
Yeah, they did. The last season 2 ending was so lackluster for sure. Also, real quick, because everyone here is politics. I don't know if Josiah, you're sticking around, but I have a super chat asking, "Did you see the grand jury decline to bring charges?" That's for the people telling the military to
The 6 Democrats,
disobey
who
lawful
broke the
orders.
law by telling people to follow the law.
Follow the law, everybody. Yeah, no, I did see that, and that's super based that there's still some rationale in this country, but holy shit. That was a little worrying for a second when the president called for them to be hanged. So, yeah.
I was in here because you asked me to while Hutch was on delay, so I'll probably dip out in just a few seconds. But
First he tells me
Stick
noon,
around, stick
then he
around,
tells me
stick around.
2. Now it's 3 p.m. How long does it take you to shave your head, Hutch? Come on.
it was a
Quite
scrotum.
a
Thank you.
long time. Honestly, like 45 minutes usually.
That's
It's a process. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done it once ever for I was a war boy from Mad Max for Halloween.
Same.
And,
I did the
hell
same
yeah.
thing. What year did you do it? I was 2017, I think.
2016. The year the movie came out. Like the year after the movie, or yeah.
Wait, I think
Well,
I did it the same year,
Mad
bro.
Max came out in the 80s, asshole. What are you talking about?
The Fury Road, the best one.
The inferior version.
The
You're
best
right,
one.
Yeah.
No, Josiah, come
Oh,
on.
okay.
Come on.
You know,
It is the best Mad
Wait,
Max movie.
It's all right. It's not bad.
It's
You don't-
all
wait,
right.
hang on. Are you trolling right now? Are you fucking with me?
Oh no,
Yeah,
here.
Soy Pill, are you fucking around? You trolling?
Am I trolling about the? Wait, what? Hold on.
Hutch and I agree that the Mel Gibson Mad Max is by far the superior one.
No, wait. Like
Wait, stop.
first of all, the original one, like the one with the Sam and Morton Joe actor who is playing like what is his name? Like the toe hunter. What do they call him?
Fucking hell, god damn. In the first one, I don't know the name. And the second one, Morton Joe is his name. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the same actor, is all I'm saying. But you think that guy is better than?
No.
Yeah, because
No,
the first one is. I'm sorry, the first one's boring. The Road Warrior is really good. The Thunderdome's also good. But Fury Road is just better. Come on, like it's the best one. It's got the best action. Wait, you do agree?
I agree. I was just fucking with you.
Oh my god, you motherfucker! Hold on, I have my Facebook. Here it is. I have my Facebook backup here. Let me share my screen. My stream can see it, but this is me
Your
right here.
Facebook backup? What is this?
But when I
where are
deleted
you?
Facebook,
Oh,
I
there you
downloaded all
are.
my stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
You fucking crushed it.
I shaved my head and everything. I got the paint and I spray painted myself. Yeah,
That's really
that
good.
white
Yours
face?
is way better than mine.
that is whiteface. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I just want to say, because I don't know what you guys are going to talk about.
Me
But,
neither.
I
I
hope you're
just-
happy. I hope you're fucking happy, Hutch. I briefly, like a groundhog, I briefly emerge from my warren of taking
Thank
on
you,
MAGA
IMS, for
to
the 10. I
criticize
appreciate it.
Hassan, and
Oh,
now I'm getting blown the
wait.
fuck up. Yeah.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
Yeah,
Let me
hope
pull
you're
up the
happy
tweet.
about that, buddy.
What did you say? What did you say?
Maybe if you would follow me and take me off mute, maybe you would have seen it. So
You don't
I do
follow
follow
Josiah
you.
on Twitter?
No, of
I
course
love how I said follow me and take me off mute, and he's like, I do follow you. He didn't even address.
I'll
the
show you my
mute
screen
part.
right now. You are
No, it's
not
fine.
muted,
Fuck
my
you.
friend.
Yeah, he's frantically unmuting me as we speak.
Hold on. Let's see this milk toast feckless criticism of Hassan.
That's
Let me
right.
find it here.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
on.
That's right.
Show
Let me
so
read it
I
out.
wanna
Here we
see
go.
it. Oh yeah.
Let me read it out. He said, as someone who rightly keeps his focus on MAGA, are you saying I wrongly keep my focus on lefties? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying for me, it's the right decision. I think the primary focus has to be on MAGA. I've made my peace with
Okay.
you being one of the 10 keeping the left in check. I think
Who
the
watches
rest
The
of us,
Watchmen? You know?
exactly.
Who
I've
wa-
made my peace with that. I think that has utility. I don't want everybody else to do it. I don't even think it needs to be 50-50. I think you have your purpose. You do the lion's share, and the vast and overwhelming majority of us need to be focused on MAGA. So there you go.
I'm just fucking.
You're
You
one
said,
in a
okay,
million.
all right.
You're one in a million, buddy.
All right. You said, as someone who rightly keeps his focus on MAGA, I'm going to briefly deviate to make a few observations. Committing to third party and saying it doesn't even matter is both indefensible and wrong and may well be seen by Dems as him slamming the door on them, thus motivating them to go rightward. He could have said something like, I can't say because Newsom needs to earn my vote if he wanted to apply leverage. The very worst Democrat is objectively better than any MAGA candidate. This schism is sadly yet another disadvantage we face in the anti-MAGA movement, even as the stakes get higher and the terrain gets more uneven.
Yeah, that was
I have a lot of
the like
people.
nicest way you could have said that, I think. You even gave him an
Very.
alternative to keeping the same position as like I'm going to hold out for a concession without saying I'm not going to vote for a Democrat, which is like
Yeah, I
yeah.
don't have an issue with him 2 years, or anybody for that matter, 2 years away from a hypothetical
Yeah.
scenario which may or may not unfold, saying, you know, I'm not going to pre-commit because, you know, that will just prompt this person to take my support for granted because they know it's fait accompli. I'm
Jesus,
not going
that
to
is
do
the
that. But
smartest. I can't believe you can so smartly say the best version of their position, and none of them can say this. All of them are like, I won't commit. I'm holding out for concessions, but also after the election, I will admit that I never would have voted for them. So it's like,
oh yeah,
So
some of
you-
the some of the responses have been wild. Oh, like the one that there was one that really cracked me up. Somebody says they're trying to clear the field for abundant Zionists. Two things everybody but the donors hate and reject. That's what's up. We're not stupid. And I'm like, you think Jennifer Welch is trying to clear the field for abundant Zionists?
yeah, or the
guy's
people
like,
are like,
yes.
they're asking you to commit to Newsom before the primary. It's like, no, the question was if it was Newsom and Vance in the
Yeah.
general, not, hey, will you vote for Newsom knowing today what you know? It's like, no, well, if he's the elect, we don't know. Like Hutch,
Yeah, Jennifer even expressed reluctance there. She's like,
Exactly.
I think she was
No.
quite far too generous in my opinion.
No. She did not express reluctance for.
No.
Newsom,
What
just to be
what I
clear.
mean is like she did the throat clearing about how much Gavin sucks and he's
not
you know, he's-
ideal. Yeah, like
I think it went further beyond that. But then yes, she says she say I'd dig through 10 feet of concrete or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And she wasn't reluctant to say that she would support him, but she was generous with Hassan's criticisms of Newsom.
mhm.
Yeah, Newsom sucks and he's all these things, but I would still support him.
Anybody who has not watched that entire exchange between Hassan and Jennifer Welsh, it is the podcast episode that they posted yesterday on I've Had It, that channel. So if anybody in anybody's chat hasn't watched that yet, I strongly suggest you do that because she asks him, the shorter clip is just her asking him, you know, would you vote for Newsom? And he says he would probably vote third party. What the smaller clip doesn't show you is that she then launched into what I thought was 95% a really articulate, well thought out, logical reason to support Newsom. She spent
using her lived experience as a liberal from a red state, you know, and talking about
she did that, and then I thought very correctly tied it to vulnerable people that live in red states, LGBTQ plus people that live in red states, and she talked about it for like 3 minutes, and then he responded to that 5-minute rant that she did, and he opened it with, I don't even consider any of that. And then like went into a rant about whatever idiotic electoral strategy he is advocating for, which I just thought was so telling, you know, like she spent 3 minutes talking about how vulnerable people in red states are going to be damaged if a Republican is elected, and he leads with, I don't even consider that, which I just thought was like so fitting for him. It's like, we know you don't actually give a fuck about these people.
Hutch, do you feel vindicated? All the people telling you, Hutch voted for Kamala on stream. Hutch voted for Kamala on stream. Like, yeah, he didn't endorse her, but he told all his people it was implicit, and he's just coming out right out. It's like the Trump thing, where like, you know, he's like, Trump didn't say to drink bleach. He was actually exploring this potential, you know, thing about, you know, maybe we can use UV light inside the body, and then Trump comes out and just undermines all of them. And he's like, actually, I was being sarcastic, but I did say that. And it's the same thing where it's like, yeah, like obviously he voted for Kamala on stream, and he's just like, no, I would vote third party. I would never vote for Newsom. And it's like, oh, okay, so he fucking didn't. Of course not. Like,
I didn't think he would come out and say that. I thought he
me
would.
neither. I didn't think he would either.
The same thing he did last time, but he staked out a position way earlier this time, which is just like such a clear attack vector. I feel like we should pounce.
One of my chat said this, and this is obvious. I just never have done this because I don't believe this. Have you ever turned it around and be like, if AOC is the nominee, I refuse. I'll vote third party. Like, have you ever like turned it on them like that? I've never done this, but
no, because I would never do that.
I know, but like, what?
You know?
Like, the only thing I could think of, like, what would their response be? Is just like, well, that's already what the Democratic establishment does. That's how they rat fuck Bernie, and like, you know, that's kind of the narrative I would expect, but. I prefer AOC to Newsom, but if I didn't, I would still, you know, drag my balls through glass to go vote for her because Republicans, right? Like,
who do you think would help more down ballot, and who do you think would be more effective in their legislative agenda, AOC or Newsom?
more effective? Oh, absolutely, Newsom. Like, I prefer AOC in terms of like policy wise. I align more with her, but like in the same way, like I align more with Bernie. But who do I think would have passed more legislation, Bernie or Biden? Biden. Like it would have been more Biden stuff. But I think overall,
Well,
long
she has no
term,
executive experience either. So like, I
that's
mean,
true.
for me,
But neither did Obama
that's,
really. I mean, he was senator very briefly. He was very freshman. Like I don't think this
well, no,
necessarily
yeah,
is
but what
disqualifying.
No, I know, but I mean, what I'm saying is like for me, the part of the consideration there is that one is actually an executive and the other one isn't, so it's easier to like stand on Gavin's record. On the other hand, you know, he enjoys, you know, margins in the California legislature that he probably wouldn't in the United States situation. So I don't know. It's an interesting question. Whereas Biden and Bernie, I think that was, you know, that was a much cleaner comparison to make. And Biden was actually more legislatively successful than Obama, which is actually, it's funny. One of the things that low key triggers me a little bit, and I understand why they do it because they're pissed off and there's some bad blood there. But like when the guys at Pod Save America, who I really like, you know, they have a lot of contempt and shit talk Biden. And part of me is like, yeah, but he was on domestic issues. He was better than your guy ever was. He got shit done that Obama never could, you know, so like ease up, you know what I mean? But
I feel very conflicted about the strategy of throwing Biden under the bus, because on the one hand, like, fuck you, he was like literally one of the most effective presidents of my lifetime, by far the most progressive, by far the most pro-labor, by far the least neoliberal. Like, he's the first president that broke from neoliberalism since like before Reagan. And then on the other hand, it's like you might have to shit on Biden to connect with the electorate right now. Like Tallarico shitting
like
on Biden. I don't like it, but I'm like, okay, that's probably going to work.
If that's what the polls demand, I think we all agree
that was the
that
Kamala rock in a hard place, right? It's like, do I shit on my current boss to distance myself? And she chose not to, and I think that hurt. But like, that was a very hard decision to be
That's
like, okay,
different.
well, it's similar, is what I'm saying. Is like the idea that like she could have distanced herself from Biden, but like to what end, in the fact that she was still his vice president at the time. And
that's
like,
the part that makes it different. Like, I totally agree. Like, obviously, and there were people calling this at the time, and certainly hindsight has vindicated that view, that it would have been the right thing to do politically to distance herself from the president or to throw him under the bus. But that's, you hit the nail on the head. She was the sitting vice president at the time, and that complicates things well beyond, you know, like now candidates like Tallarico didn't work for Biden. They were just members of the same party, right? You know, and so it's a lot easier for people to throw a former president under the bus than when you're the second in command of the administration at the time. So I don't envy that position, but that's where Biden should have been responsible to
that's
both
on
her
him.
and he should have said,
throw me under the bus. Yes, he should have said, do whatever it takes to beat Trump.
Yeah.
That's what he should have said.
Exactly.
He pulled a Ruth Bader Ginsburg in some sense. Like he just hold out. You can't take the keys away from Grandpa, sort of thing, you know?
Exactly.
I actually have a question for Hutch real quick, just because I remember seeing this. Because I know you're pro Mamdani. I remember people saying like, oh, Mamdani, I think this is true, didn't endorse Kamala either, in the same way Hassan didn't. Do you have as much smoke for him, or is it like you think his legislative successes now are kind of like outweigh that? Or
I'm not going to dwell on the past. So like, I feel like we got into this, Josiah, you and I, about like Kyle and Crystal, and like the reason why I'm still skeptical on them is because I just need to see it. Like once we get past the midterms, if they really are, you know, doing a kind of straight ticket Democrat sort of policy, then I would be willing to look past, you know, criticisms that I might even think are unfair. But with Mamdani, you know, it matters to me less because, number one, in his capacity as a New York Assembly member, that guy had less influence than Hassan, like by orders of magnitude. Now, of course,
what if he did
different.
it? Yeah, what if he did it now? Like the election was tomorrow, and now he's as big as he is.
Though. But here's the thing, though. I don't think he would, because he is demonstrating a genuine savvy in the political arena.
Because he's endorsing Hochul and he's working with these people, and it's like, yeah, I agree. He probably would not be the same person he was even a year ago. That's probably true.
Yeah. But, you know, if somebody did stuff that I disagree with in the past, but they're willing to get on the same page now, I'm not going to go out of my way to pick fights with them. And I think he's an asset to the Democratic Party right now. Number one, he does get young people excited, and he gets them to feel inspired and hopeful. And also, number two,
his popularity is skyrocketing. I know that you had reservations about that at first, but like, and maybe things will change, but his popularity is just stratospheric or getting to that point. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he is as popular in New York City. Maybe he might be. I think his numbers are like 55, 37 or something like that. So I think he has a slight majority approval, but the net like positive, it's like plus 15 or 20. And Hochul statewide is around plus 15. So they're both popular, but she has more power than him, and she doesn't have any serious primary challenger, and he needs her support to deliver on her agenda. So it's just such an obvious no-brainer thing to endorse. But him doing that got Hassan to say that he's not a
Part of the
betrayer
regime.
yet. What he said was Mamdani is not a betrayer yet.
Yeah,
That's what he said in response to her.
He said that, and he
him
called
doing that.
he called Mamdani the regime, and it's like, how can you call these, like, I go out, I support these left-wing candidates that really understand what I want to fight against the Democratic establishment, but the instant they even partly agree with a single person, they're the regime now. Like, Mamdani's the regime, AOC's the regime, Bernie's the regime. It's like, it's literally the ContraPoints meme. It's like you literally just want to critique power. That's all you do. And it's fucking frustrating because I see this person with all this potential and money and influence, and it's like it's the thought terminating cliche thing that you guys were talking about on Monday. It's like, all right, now you're part of the establishment. No more of that. I got you into the establishment now, and now I don't support you. It's like, fuck. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm pretty pissed. Sorry.
Speaking
can
of
I also take a point
go ahead.
personal privilege there for just a second again, because like as soon as my wife gets home, I'm gonna dip out. But speaking of Mamdani, because some of the people in my replies were like, what they call it, Blue Anon or Blue MAGA, or it's funny how vote blue no matter who cuts both ways. I just wanted on the record, and Hutch can vouch for this because we had multiple high-profile disagreements. Hutch, can you vouch that I was very much publicly blue no matter who when it came to Mamdani, and I was pissed that prominent Democrats were not publicly endorsing Mamdani?
Yeah.
Can you vouch for me there? Like that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Thank you. I want that out there for you naysayers. Like, oh, blue no matter who only applies to the more centrist candidate. No, I'm an equal opportunity offender, and I said that the centrists needed to. That Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, that they should have been saying it much earlier. Blah blah blah. I just want that out there.
I mean, I take blue no matter who you can try to test me with the craziest thought experiment you could devise, and I am not backing down. So people are taking a clip from me on Live and Learn, was it last week or the week before, where I said I would vote for the reincarnated corpse of Jeffrey Epstein if it meant delivering a Democratic Party legislative agenda and blocking Republicans from power. And I'm fucking literally mean it. I'm not joking. I'm not being sarcastic in the slightest.
You don't even have to be that absurd. Just say, I'd vote for Bill Clinton over Donald Trump. Both of them are in the Epstein files. Both of them probably did something weird with kids, but it's part of the platform, right? That said, Hutch, didn't you, if I remember correctly, you were not as reticent as Pisco and I were to condemn the Jeffries and all them for not endorsing Mamdani when he was the only Democrat, right?
Blue no matter who is a voting strategy. Has nothing to do with political endorsements. So that's the difference. Like blue no matter who is like, if you go to the ballot box and there's a Democrat on the ticket, you vote for that Democrat. The argument back then was, is it justified to be angry at national politicians that serve at the federal level in the U.S. Congress for not endorsing a mayor, like a mayor's race in a city like New York City that's plus 32 Democrat in 2024? That's like a totally different debate than, should I vote for the Democrat if they're on my ticket?
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interject with one other thing here, but just I'm scrolling while I'm looking at this, and a photographer just caught Pam Bondi in that hearing. She was given a copy of Pramila Jayapal's search history for the Epstein files, like what Pramila Jayapal was searching in her review of the Epstein files. That was part of Pam Bondi's burn book to go after. Like, this shit's going viral. Like, Pramila Jayapal's search history right in the binder. The shit that Pramila Jayapal was looking at. That's fucked up.
Wait, whoa. Hold on. Show me a clip of this. Are you saying she fucking just...
Here, I'll send it to you.
Did they literally like snoop on her internet history?
Bro, check this shit out. It's all over Twitter now.
Where did you send it?
In the chat?
I sent it to you, DM. I just DM'd it to you.
To Hutch.
Here, let me send to Soy Pill too.
There's no way. Hold on. What the
Enhance.
fuck?
Enhance.
No. Are you
Jayapal
fucking?
Pramila
Are
search
you
history.
kidding me, bro?
Oh my
Did she get
God.
a warrant for that? Is there like a criminal investigation going on? Excuse me?
Oh my
How is that
God.
not a how is that
Wait.
not a prosecutable offense?
Wait. Is this real? This is the torture video is unredacted? It's Solyem, who's the one who sent that to Epstein? I remember that name was redacted in the files.
No, but it says Jayapal Pramila search history.
No, I know that I'm bearing the lead here, but just the third from the last one. I love the torture video from Solyem
Oh
to
yeah,
Epstein.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
redacted in the files, right? That email. So now
Oh
we
no,
know
no,
who that's from.
well, no, I think that was unredacted. I think people found that a couple days ago.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I haven't been keeping up. I'm not in the conspiracy posting subreddits.
Wait, there's no way she just got caught like literally illegally spying on a congressperson, right? There's
I
no
don't
way
know,
they
sure
would be that incompetent, right?
they even label it very, very politely, very thoughtfully.
It's
Pramila
not
Jayapal search
illegal. It
history.
is absolutely illegal to spy without a warrant. That's crazy. Unless they had like a wait, hold on. People are trying to correct me here. It's from DOJ computers that house the files they search. Okay, but why does it say Pramila Jayapal search history? What does that mean? Congress got access to the unredacted copies. She was searching the files on the DOJ machines. Right, but
I don't understand what that. Yeah, but why it would be? I mean, I don't know about the legality here. That would be more of a PISCO thing. But I don't know why the fuck that would be appropriate. I mean, right now everybody's
like what?
talking about it like it's a big deal.
Yeah, what would the precedent for this be? Like would Merrick Garland? Like this has to be illegal, right? Like there's no way.
I can't speak to this whether or not it's illegal. It's certainly potentially alarming.
They can look at access on a closed system. Yeah, I understand that, but like the idea that they would go into the back end and look up what particular Congress people were searching, there's no way that this is above board.
And how is it germane to the questions? Like that's the other thing too. Like what specifically about that list, better prepared the Attorney General to answer questions substantively from Jayapal or anybody else?
That's wild. That's actually wild.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to derail you guys. I just saw that.
Josiah,
Holy
we've
shit.
missed you for months, and you're going to apologize for talking to us again finally.
Yeah, well, I talked to Hutch a lot. You, on the other hand, I'm just kidding.
We don't talk as much.
Listen, you are bad for productivity. You're very bad for productivity. The other night when I was with you in Pisco, and I said I could only be there for 30 minutes, and I just kept delaying. I kept sending texts, guys, give me another 30 minutes, give me another 30 minutes, give me another 30
2
minutes.
hours. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was 3 hours later, and my wife was like, "Where the fuck were you?" And I was like, "Well, sorry, got distracted."
I mean, did I ask you just generally like? I feel like I want to ask everybody this question these days because I know what the vibes were like a year ago. Like really early in the Trump presidency, his approval was 55%. The vibes were not great. I had a lot of fear about where the country was headed, and I know all of us probably felt the same kind of crushing feeling that, oh God, this might be America now. But like, how do both of you guys feel in February of 2026?
I am not feeling better in the sense I'm like, well, we're headed in a better direction. I just feel better in the sense that the zeitgeist is not following the policy, where clearly people are rejecting the ideas. And I think the concept of a return to something more normal is still possible, whereas last year I didn't think that. But that doesn't make me more optimistic about where the country is headed yet. It's just one of those like, hey, if we fix this, there's still a chance that the population isn't brain dead, I guess.
How could it not necessarily make you feel better? I'm not saying that you have to be certain that we'll kind of quote unquote go back to normal, but if you think that
I'm more optimistic. I don't feel better because they're still in power doing stuff, right? Like so, like I'm like, oh shit, like is like all the things about is my family or my friend's family or any of those people going to be deported? Like are people going to be like oppressed in ways that I can't prevent? Like that's still just as alarming, if not worse, because it's going way faster than I thought it would be. But I am more optimistic about the empathy that this country has.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great. I'll be honest with you. I've been waking up in the middle of the night a lot more in the past week than strangely than I was a month ago. Which I'm a light sleeper anyway. But just a kind of profound sense of anxiety for a few reasons. So, I mean, I agree that in certain contexts, things are getting politically better and that Trump's approval is in free fall. And the evidence seems to be mounting that we'll retake the House in November and that the Senate is increasingly in play. On the other hand, we're still waiting to hear about, what the Supreme Court's going to do on the voting rights amendment, which could permit southern states or Republican states in the South to potentially get anywhere from 12 to 18 seats, and there are just fewer competitive seats. So there's that. I think all else equal, will 80 to 90% likely to take the House, and the numbers on the Senate are looking better. But that's again all else being equal. I'm worried about what Trump might try to do with respect to the midterms. Obviously, there's no constitutional mechanism for him to cancel or suspend the elections, but for him to send ICE or other agencies in the FBI to try to suppress voter turnout, that's a bit concerning to me because I don't think it'll just be for Hispanic Americans or anything like that. I think that there's a good chance if ICE is patrolling in predominantly blue areas, particularly in swing states, that could just generally depress voter turnout. There's that. There's, Tulsi going to the Fulton County thing. I mean, like all that shit's so spurious, but the fact that he actually went there and that the FBI seems to be wanting to relitigate the 2020 election and that they've got Maduro and, and everybody's talking about this now, the crazy ass lawyer. I keep wanting to say Sydney Sweeney, but that's not Sidney Powell. Sidney Powell, who's very different, famously from Sydney Sweeney. Her whole conspiracy theory was that Venezuela was rigging the 2020 election. And so like you can just imagine this comically stupid timeline in the multiverse where Maduro takes a plea deal, and admits to, rigging the 2020 election, and Trump's already expressed regret not seizing voting machines. And then on top of all of that, I am very much concerned about the reapportionment that'll come after the 2030 census. And I do take it very seriously. It's not just David Plouffe, but a lot of others sounding the alarm about how right now, with trends the way they are, the path for democratic sustained control of the government is narrowing, and it was narrow to begin with. It's easier for Republicans to retake the House than it is for Democrats to flip the Senate. So like the political landscape in terms of institutions.
Wait, what did you just say? It's easier for what? Say that again.
Republicans
It's
to
easier
take the House than for Democrats
in
to
an
flip
election.
seats.
It's easier for Republicans to take control of the House than it is for Democrats to take the Senate. It's just like for the longest time, to get really reductive, one of the things that people would say is that, well, yeah, the Senate is malapportioned towards red rural conservative states, right? But where Democrats have the advantage is in the other chamber because they're more likely to take control of the House. And I can't remember when it was. I think it might have been like the 60s or 70s, but there was like a 20-year period of sustained Democratic control of the House of Representatives. But now it's like you're more likely to see uninterrupted control of the Senate by Republicans than you are the House by Democrats. And so like the one thing that was supposed to be ours, quote unquote, because of, population density and the greater population of blue states, that advantage is weaker than it is the Republicans' advantage in the Senate. That concerns me because that's just one chamber of one branch of government. They already have an advantage of the Supreme Court and the White House because of the Electoral College. So like all these things are really freaking me out. Like it's easier. The floor for the Republicans is really high, in the sense like they can just get control of the institutions a lot easier than we can, and they're going for broke. And so yeah, I'm really concerned about all of that because it's not enough to just win the election and play it inch by inch or syllable by syllable. Like we have to make some major institutional reforms, I think, in this country for Democrats to be competitive or as competitive as they should be. And it's going to be really, really tough. So sorry to throw a lot at you, but that's why I'm concerned.
I mean,
Yeah.
like, so there's there's validity to that. I obviously think that you should always be forward thinking and think about the potential obstacles ahead. I think there's a difference between considering the possibility of these things manifesting in the way that you're describing and kind of like living in that fear and anxiety. And I think one thing that allows Trump and his movement to flourish is when people feel beaten, apathetic, and hopeless. And so I think it is an act of defiance, and it is politically advantageous to consciously choose to allow some optimism into your thinking. And I can't help but feel much more optimistic. I mean, like I appreciate what you said, Soypil, when you talked about like the real world consequences of the Trump administration. Obviously, I don't feel good at all about people being terrorized by ICE, or wrongfully deported or sent to a torture prison in CCOT. And when I think about these things for too long, I get really upset and pissed off. But I do think that there is a kind of strategy, there is a kind of utility in consciously choosing to be somewhat optimistic. And I don't know, man. I've been talking about it a lot on my stream, but when I saw the reaction from the people of Minneapolis, that made me feel good. That made me feel like, okay, we're going to be okay. You know, like, because they killed 2 Americans. And then that just prompted thousands more Minneapolis residents to flood into the streets in sub-zero temperatures. And so I try to imagine that on a more macro scale. Like if Donald Trump tries some fuckery and shenanigans with the elections, just imagine how many people are going to take to the streets. Like it's going to be insane.
Yeah,
Like,
and I don't want to rain on your parade because I mean I agree. Like I have moments of optimism there too. Like I've attended a couple of No Kings rallies here in Charlotte, and like it's hard not to feel like really jubilant in the moment. Like there's it's like an electric current on your skin. But kind of what Soypill was talking about earlier. I'm like he's in power for the next 3 years, and like that. I hear everything that you're saying. The sad thing is like we hear these like the stories of the allegedly principled Republicans. I mean, they were certainly more principled than they are now, marching into President Nixon's office over Watergate and saying, you resign or we're going to give the Democrats the votes to not only impeach, but convict you. And Nixon resigned. And it's like all the things you're talking about, even like the mounting pressure, the sad thing is, that there's nothing that he was right. He prophesied this, that he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not lose a single vote. That might be reductive, but like I think it'd be accurate to say he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not be impeached and convicted under Republican majorities. I mean, like I've been stunned by the extent to which the Republicans have turned a blind eye and tolerated the most heinous shit. And Soypill said something earlier, which also made me think of this. The Financial Times a couple of weeks ago had a really good breakdown. They did this like forensic analysis of the illiberalism that's infiltrated the United States with the second Trump term compared to like Orban's Hungary or Erdogan's Turkey. And like the illiberalism that Trump is infecting the United States is actually accelerated. Like the rate at which U.S. institutions at the federal level have become illiberal is greater than the rate it was for Orban and for Erdogan. And that's the thing where I get really down. It's like, okay, yeah, he's not popular. He'll never be popular again. There are certain things I'm confident that they're truly fucked. Like they're never reclaiming the immigration debate. That is, Hutch, you're very confident about like asserting certain things like that this will happen and this will happen. I'm not that guy, but one thing I am is like, I tell people like there's no amount of spin in the world that will ever put Donald Trump back in like a super majority position on immigration. I think Preddy and Renee Good, like he's fucked on that for the rest of his term. The best he'll be able to do is like, try to mitigate some of the damage that he's wrought. But despite his unpopularity, he's still the most powerful man in the world for the next 3 years, and there's a lot of power there.
Just I don't want to hold you too long, but like I completely disagree on like nothing will flip this. Because in the same way, the reason I think we see this really good pushback is because we had a visceral photo or a video of ICE doing something terrible. All it takes is one Laken Riley recorded incident of an illegal immigrant doing a crime to just blow the base up and get normie people to see that and be like, oh my God, that's what ICE is fighting against? We got to help them stop it. Like, I think this could flip on a dime. And that's why I'm scared.
You mean him recovering on immigration?
Yeah.
Recovering on immigration. Oh, yeah. Now, if the facts change, right? If there's like an inciting incident, like I agree, like, yeah, you catch you catch an undocumented immigrant, Laken Riley, another Laken Riley, then yeah, that's different. But I'm talking about just the spin that's been coming from this administration. There's no
okay.
amount of spin or rhetorical flourish that's ever going to let him recover.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what I mean.
Excuse me.
So again, sorry to rain on your parade. That's not what I mean to do. It's just like,
How dare you
that's my
provide
deeper
interesting, insightful
anxiety.
commentary to my stream? Everyone's upset. They're like, "Who is this guy? Get him off of here."
I think the hyperpolarization in this country makes it, you really have to squint really hard to imagine a candidate breaking through, or one of the parties breaking through in a way that sort of cements a really commanding kind of lead. And I get that. I really do understand that. In some ways, it feels kind of intractable and bleak when you look at like the Senate map and these kinds of things. But this is really kind of, not that Trump himself is normal, but America has been in this kind of place before. I mean, we had nearly 40 years of Republican dominance in politics. Or am I thinking of the timeline right here? So it's like 68 is when Nixon first wins, and from 68 until 92. So that's like 34 years. Obviously Carter won for one term, and then Clinton picked up the baton in 1992. But for 28 out of 32 years, that was Republicans serving in the presidency. And we can go back decades prior to see, other part, like the Democrats dominated for how many decades in the FDR era. And so, and right now it feels like very difficult to imagine that changing, but you really do never know when the political winds are going to shift for reasons that occur outside of politics. We had a economic recession, and the public turned on the Iraq War, and then Hurricane Katrina, and that was like a trifecta that boosted Obama to a really significant victory in 2008 with, a veto-proof majority, or I'm sorry, a filibuster-proof majority. And if you would have asked people in 2004 if you thought that was possible, they would have laughed at you. And so,
Right.
I guess when I look at the current climate with how the public is, I mean, they are really turning on Trump in a way that I don't know if I've ever seen a decline quite like this fast. Can you guys think of any off the top of your head? I'm pretty sure this is a historic decline. And then when you look at results, like there was a special election, I think in Oklahoma last night, you guys, where they flipped a seat that was like Trump, like plus 32.
Yeah, to a
in
plus 16
2024.
Dem. Yeah, I saw.
That's a crazy swing. And the
Did they flip the
Texas
seat, or
race.
was it a precinct?
I don't know. I'm getting kind of confused.
I was getting hyped up, and then I saw someone say no precinct, and that the Republican was still in the lead overall. But I haven't had a chance to dive into it. But I mean, either way,
you're right about that. Maybe you're right about that. But I mean, we can go back to last week. There was a special election in Texas where they flipped it 32-point overperformance, and so like there is something happening in this country. It's been happening for the last year, and I feel like people don't want to bank on it or feel like they're going to jinx it by acknowledging it, but it's just the reality that the margin, the overperformance margin, continues to increase. So now we're at a point where on average the Democrats are overperforming by above 15 points in all of these special elections over the last year. That is a Tea Party 2010 type movement. Maybe not movement, but political movement, like literal movement. So if that doesn't make you feel better about the current situation, then I feel
it certainly, I certainly acknowledge, and I've acknowledged this on my channel because I do videos celebrating those successes and pointing out that this is good and that we should take this as a positive sign. I take nothing for granted. I really don't in the age of Trump, and I don't think any of us should. I mean, Democrats are kicking ass in special elections in 2023. We had a relatively good, 2022 midterm, and it's not the landslide that Trump said it was, but it was certainly a decisive defeat in 2024. And so I just I take your point, and I'm not ruling out anything. I'm not saying I am. Mehdi Hassan once said that he is hopeful but not optimistic. That's where I am. I'm hopeful. If I wasn't hopeful, if I thought it was literally impossible or virtually impossible for meaningful change in this country, then I couldn't do what I do. But
I'm in the same.
I don't think I don't think the odds are with us. I think the odds are still against us. Maybe not in terms of the specific election, but in terms of doing what needs to be done to really deal a decisive blow to fascism. I'm sorry, Soypo, go ahead.
No, no, I interrupted you. I was just saying, yeah, same thing. Like, it's like, yeah, this is positive. I like seeing these seats like flip Trump districts, but I'm not holding my breath until I see it happen. Like, it's going to be maybe even not even after the election, like 2028, post January 6th inauguration as well. I'll be like, okay, relax, we won, thank God, right? Like, until then, I'm not taking anything for granted, and these might be good indicators, but it's I don't know. They're gonna pull all the stops and try everything for this midterm. So yeah.
What do you make of the proposition that Trump's entire brand, and I guess more specifically his political brand, is based on this idea that he's this strong force of nature, but
Yeah.
the reality is literally the opposite, and that Trump and MAGA are and always have been a weak political movement? Like, what do you make of that proposition?
100%. It's the fascist strongman character, and I think if he had been killed, that would have been bad. If that assassination attempt had gone through, that would have martyred him as the god masculine figure forever. And instead, perfectly, it failed, and we're going to see him decline into a doddering old man, and it's going to dissolve the movement because no longer do you have daddy. Like, they call him daddy, and I know it's tongue in cheek sometimes, but that's how a lot of masculine fascist figures work. It's this guy can do no wrong. He knows everything right. He's going to solve it. He's the only one who can fix it. And you watch him become the emperor with no clothes, bumbling around, and you're like, wait, my entire worldview is dissolved. Like, I don't know who to look towards anymore. And I think that's a good thing. And I think that will ultimately be the downfall of MAGA.
You know, I think that MAGA, I think their need for control is so desperate because it's so unnatural. Tyranny requires constant effort. It breaks. I'm sorry, I was quoting Andor. I was wondering if any of you fuckers would catch it. But the manifesto. I mean, look, I go back and forth on this. I totally concede that in certain respects, MAGA is certainly ineffective, right? Like they even ruled out a reconciliation package this year because he's that unconfident that he'd be able to get it through. And we're starting to see the fractures manifest. Like, they just lost a crucial rule vote, which will allow the House to push back on, some of his tariff policy. And we saw Tim Scott, for example, pipe up criticizing Trump about the Obama video. Like, and again, legislatively, they are extremely incompetent compared to the Biden administration. But like, there is a valence of strength in MAGA that comes from being a cult, right? So they're strong in the sense that that Trump will not be defied in certain ways that every other president would. And so, like, I'm not ready to concede like the whole thing is a weak movement or anything. I think it's weak in some areas and dangerously, disturbingly, insanely strong, like literally insanely, so like to the point of psychosis. In other ways,
Can I just say,
they're
though,
strong and they're
something
strong
you
in the
pointed out earlier,
sense
and
like
I held this position until very recently, that Trump was right when he said he could gun someone down on Fifth Avenue and people would still support him. Some people will, but just like with this Preddy shooting, enough of the populace will see that and be like, wait, fuck that. After all the rhetoric and all the propaganda that got them to vote Trump twice, they see a guy get shot in the back twice and they're like, wait, no, I'm not okay with this. They see some of these Republicans see like, hey, you're literally putting the Obamas on monkey faces. This is just blatantly racist. And I'm not okay with that. And like, there is a line for enough people that is what gives me hope.
yeah, I mean, again, like I don't dispute that it's never been a particularly popular movement and it's done things that's cost it popularity, and that at certain points Trump has blinked in the face of public opinion. I just yes, if he shot someone on Fifth Avenue, just like I was saying earlier, was he a bit reductive when he said he wouldn't lose a single vote? Yes, but I think he could shoot someone on Fifth Avenue and not be impeached. I mean, like that, like even like stuff like that. Like, I don't think there's any timeline in the multiverse where if in 2024 Trump, let's say, because Trump had a shitty debate performance against Kamala, for example, it wasn't as catastrophic in its own way as Biden's was. I understand that for different reasons, but I don't think there's anything Trump could have done in 2024 that would have forced the party to push him out or to react the way that Biden did. So like, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to glaze MAGA and whatever. I don't underestimate them as enemies. So I agree with Hutch and you that in many ways they are weak, but I also think in some very dangerous ways they are cultishly strong in ways that cults are. And I don't think we can discount that.
So the party itself is capable of doing really terrible things that do a lot of harm to a lot of people when you give them power, as we've seen. So I'm not in any way minimizing the very real pain that this party causes people and the frankly horrifying death toll of the USAID cuts, which I just feel like is something that we just don't talk about enough. I mean, there's
No.
going to be basically a quiet Holocaust that occurs over the next 10 years, and 10 million plus people are projected to die. 200,000 kids have died just in the last year, according to the numbers. 600,000 on the low end of the estimate total, 1/3 of them being children. And, that is not nothing, obviously. But in terms of like a political movement, let me just like pitch to you what I think to be an accurate assessment of how I think history will view this movement. I think history will regard MAGA as a paper tiger that was as a weak political movement, which might sound counterintuitive because he won in 2016 and 2024. But let me put it to you this way. From the beginning of the Trump era, which we'll say is 2016 when he was elected, and he's going to leave office. I don't think he's going to serve a second term in 2028. And in that time, I think, let me just add one more precursor. I think that the Democrats are cruising to a fucking blue tidal wave in November. And I think Democrats are currently really well positioned to win another trifecta. I think there's a not insignificant chance that we do take back the Senate as well as the House in November, which will position us really strongly to have a trifecta again in 2028, assuming that Donald Trump's numbers keep going down. And I think they will. I don't know when they're going to plateau, but I don't think we've reached the bottom yet. So if we play the tape out from 2016 to 2032, in that time, the Republicans will have had 2 winning election cycles versus the Democrats having 7. And yet, when people talk about Trump and his political movement, they use language that implies a level of strength that I don't think is quite matched by the facts. I mean, if we just look at the current tally right now, Democrats have had 3 winning election cycles in the era of Trump versus their 2. And we've done consistently way better in special elections.
I think 2022 was a. I think I've heard you say this before, and respectfully, I think 2022 was a bit of a
Be right
draw
back, guys. Sorry.
because
No.
we expanded our Senate map. That's true, but there was the other chamber, the House, and they took control of the House. So,
No. If you ask any Republican politician at the time, if they felt like they had a winning cycle, they all would have told you the same thing, which is no, we lost this cycle.
Well, right, because the expectation was red wave, red wave, red wave, red wave, and I totally agree with you. They didn't have. That's why I said it's a draw. They didn't have a decisive knockout, but they did flip control of the House, and that mattered. That mattered a lot because that was the end of Biden's legislative agenda once they retook control of the House.
But
So I
that's more.
disagree.
But that's more. Flipping the House is more or less baked in to the political dynamic in this country and has been for decades. And so
Yeah,
you
respectfully,
you do have to grade it on a curve. And
no, wait.
the
How can that be?
no, wait, let me make the midterm performance that occurred in 2022 during Biden's one and only term was literally a historically good midterm performance, apart from 2002 after 9/11. Like, he did better. You'd have to go back literal decades to get a performance that good. There's a reason why he was celebrating on that night, and he was like celebrating it, and as were the rest of the Democrats, even though they lost the House. And there was a reason why Lindsey Graham was on the news that night talking about how they got crushed. That was a losing cycle for them, no matter how you cut it.
I disagree. I think I agree with you that it was an historically good performance by an incumbent party, especially given the political headwinds. I would never dispute that because, again, we were able to expand our Senate map and blunt the losses in the House. But there were losses in the House, and we did lose control of the House, and that did matter because, again, that was the end of President Biden's legislative agenda for all intents and purposes. So I categorically reject. I consider 2022 a draw, and that's somebody who has defended 2022. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think it can be an historic overperformance for an incumbent party given the headwinds, and that Republicans were disappointed because they were expecting a red tsunami and it never manifested. But we did lose control of the House, and that mattered. That was not trivial. And then to say that, it's expected that you lose control, that the incumbent party loses control of the House. Well, I mean, then by that logic, then if we take control of the House but not the Senate, this year, then that's not a win for us because that's just kind of priced in. So I think you got to be consistent. And so I disagree. They won 2016, they won 2024. We fought them to a draw on 2022. We beat them in 2018. We beat them in 2020.
I'm going to mute Hutch right
now.
now.
I guess maybe
Muting him.
I would count 2021, given it was off-year elections, but it helped us take control of the Senate. I don't know if you count that as 2020. Sometimes I count it as a separate election cycle, but no.
You mean Roy Moore, the Alabama race?
No, when the Georgia seats. I think
I
those were in
agree. I think
2021.
Hutch is slightly
Technically.
overly
the
optimistic.
runoffs,
Junior.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 10.
So I don't know if you count that as part of 2020 or not, but no, I think that MAGA has been competitive. And listen, and I'll just wrap up with this. And I said this recently in my own unhinged rant when I was talking about the David Plouffe article in a video of mine, that I reject this idea that the Democratic Party, it's just like a meme now, the Democrats can't win elections. I actually think it's quite amazing that Democrats are as competitive as they are, given the structural disadvantages that we have, the ones that I bitch about all the time and the ones that we talked about a bit earlier. But
Sorry, David Plouffe said we can't win. Democrats can't win elections. When did he say this?
No. I mentioned this. You've heard this meme before, the Democrats can't win elections, right? I went on a tangent on this when I was doing a video about David Plouffe's article about the path for sustained trifecta control for Democrats narrowing. You hear this all the time. Democrats can't win elections. Democrats can't win elections. It's just like, actually, it's kind of fucking impressive that we have the win record we do, given the various disadvantages that
we win a
have.
lot of elections.
Yeah.
We win a lot of elections.
And so I'm with you there, but no, I think you're being a bit too
optimistic,
bit too conservative with MAGA's record. I think it's more.
I think, frankly, you're being a little bit myopic in this regard, because them only having like a tiny, puny little red trickle is the reason why there is literally a non-zero chance that we could take the majority back before we even get to the midterms in the House. And the reason that I think 2022 you can call just a decisive win for Democrats, which might seem paradoxical when you consider that we lost the House, is the fact that they blew so many eminently winnable Senate races that year that is the reason why this year we could possibly win the Senate. Do you know what I mean?
No, I take
like
your point.
that they blew like how many winnable Senate seats that year? Like 6. Like
Bro,
6.
But
Also,
basically,
hold on.
Hutch.
I
I don't think anyone's disagreeing
thing.
with this, though.
Hold on. I got one more thing to say. The other thing you need to consider is that you should not look at these elections in a vacuum. What was going on in 2022, you guys? What do you think?
COVID?
What do you think was like what do you think is so, like really relevant to this analysis? We were experiencing the highest levels of inflation since the fucking 80s. We were having an economic downturn. We were starting to hemorrhage jobs at that point. So the Democrats not only had a very strong midterm performance, they had it in a year where the incumbent party should be slaughtered. The Republicans, Democrats were presiding over economic downturn in 2010, and we lost like 1,200 fucking seats all over the country in that midterm election. Okay, that's what's supposed to happen when you're in a recession. So you do have to grade that year on a curve. And if you do, and I think you should, that was a winning year for Democrats, 1,000%.
I don't want to disagree with this. It just seems like you're reading the trend lines, things are going positively, and you're like projecting in the future. And I'm not saying you're wrong for that. I'm just going to keep treating the opposition party, like a party that, if they could, would cancel the election. So I just don't want to let the optimism hinder what we should be doing, which is fighting tooth and nail to drag this country away from them. And I'm not saying you're not saying that either. I'm just hesitant to be this optimistic when I know how quickly things can turn around. No, I know. I'm not. This is why I'm saying this is not at all mutually exclusive with your position. I'm just like, I can't be this optimistic when I hear the president saying these things, and I'm just like, fuck. Like I'm watching people get gunned down in the streets, and it's like, yeah, thank God, Democrats and the independents are rejecting this, but it's not enough for me to say like, okay, it looks like we're in a good spot, guys, and be happy about that. I'm like, fucking, I will be happy when these people are in jail for the rest of their lives. All right, like, and then I can stop. I can breathe a sigh of relief. So,
and I'm just gonna say too, the other reason that I think we shouldn't underestimate MAGA, and of course it goes back to the one branch I bitch about the most, but he put 3 Supreme Court justices on the court, and they're going to be with us for decades. And in some ways, it's the most powerful branch, and it's going to be the gauntlet that the next Democratic administration is going to have to fight through. And the Supreme Court can strike down any federal law, there's nothing that the Democratic Party can pass that the Supreme Court couldn't, in theory, just strike down and come up with a bullshit constitutional basis. So if we wanted to pass, they talked about, like, they struck down Biden's student loan forgiveness programs, for example. Oh, in Missouri v. Biden. Oh, this particular law doesn't give you, the president, the authority to do it. So then you're like, fuck it. Okay, fine. We'll spend political capital. We'll pass a federal law, giving the president the power to wipe out student loan forgiveness. And then a Republican attorney general could just challenge it in a state somewhere, and it makes its way up through the appellate process. The Supreme Court could grant it cert, and they could be like, yeah, okay, fine. You passed a law saying the president can do this, but actually that law is unconstitutional because of X, Y, and Z reasons. So, like, that's the other reason. It's not just that he won 2 out of the 3 presidential elections. It's also that he's going to have a legacy on this court that goes well beyond him. And, of course, there's a possibility that he's going to be able to put 2 more on there, potentially 3, depending on, if Alito retires or Thomas retires or if Kagan or Sotomayor kick the bucket. So,
knock on wood.
I still don't want to rain on your parade. I'm not
Look,
disputing anything you're saying. I'm just saying, like, let's acknowledge they're dangerous, and they're going to be dangerous for a long time.
Wait, on that note, Josiah, do you have, because I keep talking about this, but I have connections in Progressive Victory. I know you do too. Are you planning on doing, like, mobilization of your audience for, like, campaigning and door knocking and all that? I want to, like, get ahead of this because, it's 7 months from now, right? 7, 8 months from now. But, like, I want to be like, oh, we have it scheduled. We're putting people out there. We got, like, 6, 7 events. In that week.
I'm happy to, like, try to mobilize my audience, but the difference is, and I think because I tried this before when I worked with Progressive Victory, and I think the results were disappointing. So, like, I have a very, like, I was doing videos about this and I was putting on my community wall, but the thing is, like, I don't actually have a community. I have an audience. Like, I don't have a Discord and stuff like that, or a subreddit. And I found that, this is probably a bit reductive, but I think that is a huge difference, is, like, the reason, like, Destiny's community was so effective at turning out mass numbers. It's like, I get a lot more views than Destiny, but he's famous and has a community that vastly outstrips mine because it's an actual community, right?
Yeah, but it's a non-zero amount of people that will be like, hey, here's a link, here's the event, it's in your city, let's go, let's fly out to Georgia, let's fly out to a swing state. Like, I know it's not zero. It's not the community, but it's not zero.
I have no problem. I'm sure it contributed to fundraising in some way. I didn't, like, track it because we would always put up fundraising links as well. So I'm sure that helped. But yeah, like, I have no problem for it. It's just, like, I always tell people all the time to, like, I'm doing a thing for the State of the Union. I just had a conversation today with Jessica Tarlov from Fox News, and I was telling her, people, like, listen, you need to set your expectations, like, really low. Like, yes, I get very, very good views on my pre-recorded content, but, like, when I go live, I pull, far fewer viewers than certainly Hutch, and I would say, about as many as you do. Like, it's very lopsided. So it's a different type, and I probably fucked up from the beginning not having a Discord and trying to establish those community ties.
You made the right choice. Yeah, right choice. Discord's a cesspool. I don't know why Hutch has one.
Yeah.
Going back to what you guys were talking about, I think I think there's a bit of a comparison to make here between my strategy of, like, calculated and tactical and conscious optimism, and what we were talking about before in terms of, you need soldiers out there that are beating the drums of MAGA bad, Trump bad, and laserly focused on Republicans. But then I think you also need people like me that are talking about, I think, destructive elements on the left. And I think the same kind of logic applies here. So to the extent that your guys' anxiety motivates people and makes them vigilant and thus more engaged, great. I think that's, like, there's a utility there. And so I'm not going to tell you to not be nervous or anything like that.
You're the Democratic lighthouse, Hutch. We'll put you in and we'll shine a big beacon on your head, and the optimism will radiate out.
He's the Democratic edible to our anxiety is what he is. Not even a lighthouse.
Josiah and I are SSRIs, and Hutch is an edible.
Mm-hmm. I'm a methamphetamine or something like that. I'm a ADHD medication.
You guys just need to chill out and have a good time. We're Democrats are cool, man.
I mean, listen, I just think, like, all the signs right now are really firmly pointing to
hello, Hutch mods in my chat.
Massacre in November, like a fucking massacre, and I choose to, like, feel really good about that. I feel really good about that. I feel good because, like, it contextualizes 2024 in a different way. Right after 2024, I'm thinking, oh my God, what if this is just who we are as a country? What if
Mm-hmm.
the Republican Party are building a new coalition that involves, that includes people that used to be reliable Democratic voters? What if this is the start of a 30-year Republican Party Reich in this country, like what happened when starting with Nixon in 68? I was having those thoughts. And so now we've seen enough to know that I think we can understand 2024
I am
to be
I don't think he's
an
saying
election that
optimism
was
is a strategy.
very
He's
largely
choosing to be
about
optimistic on top of
inflation
everything.
and people wanting their paychecks to go further. And what they got instead was tariffs and complete chaos and dead Americans in the streets of Minneapolis. And now they are showing up in historic numbers to reject this fascist party. And so that does make me feel better about who we are as a country and where we're headed. And I definitely feel hopeful. And I want to inject that into the discourse as much as you guys want to inject, correctly so, I think, the threats that this party poses this country.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, we got to have some buzzkills on the team, and that's me. I can't speak for Soypo because he has that fucking
I am
propeller hat,
the most cynical person you'll ever meet. I'm sorry.
Which
so.
really clashes with the hat, because the hat,
that's why it's there.
It should be you should be propelled on your own optimism.
I'll try. I'll get my big titty goth girlfriend to make it all black and give myself eyeliner, so you know how my mood reflects my appearance.
Do you have a big titty goth girlfriend? I didn't know this lore.
Yeah. I don't know if she accepts that moniker.
Oh, well,
me.
she did now.
You
just
wife.
slapped it on her.
I'm getting stun locked by my chat right now. I can't believe I'm reading this.
What are they saying? They're like, Hutch is too optimistic. We're all gonna die.
No, they're saying yes, but Hutch is leaning one side of doing very little to actually fix this type of disgusting behavior in this administration. I'm just fucking completely lost. What the fuck are you talking about, bro? How could anything I said amount to that? What are you talking about? Twitch, you guys are the good guys tonight. Twitch, you're the best. Twitch chat, best chat. Twitch chat, best chat. YouTube, I've been saying a while, they're the worst chat. Yep.
Maybe this is a good segue. Hutch, what did you want to yell at me about?
Okay, listen to me. This doesn't need to be a long conversation.
Okay.
If you ever mute me again, it's not funny. Stop laughing.
It is funny, dude.
If you ever mute me again on my own podcast, I walk. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I walk.
All right.
I will. Not only do I walk, I will shut the stream off. I will drive my car to your house. I can't beat you up, but I will stand outside your apartment and scream until at least 11.
You could maybe beat me up. I've never been in a fight. I know I have the mass to be in a fight, but I've never won a fight. I've never lost a fight, so I'm 0 for 0. But
you could likely collapse my sternum with one well-placed punch right to the center.
I think I'd sit on you with my giant ass, and you would just
That's exactly.
deflate.
That's right. He just twerk on
Me
you
with a good time.
He just twerk on you and total your fucking car. You wouldn't even have to get out of the car. You just crash that thing.
Just like the whole.
I think you were way too easy on Hassan. Not
Vadim.
Hassan. On Vadim.
You guys had Hassan?
No.
Okay,
let's set it up. Let's try to make it happen.
Let me explain my reasoning for this, because don't get me wrong. Like in any other context, if this was, first of all, I don't know Ogre very well. I like Vadim's videos. I was a fan of Vadim before I met Vadim. I do not like his current opinions on politics, especially in the context of what we're talking about. But knowing that all of us agree, all four of us agreed, this is fucking dumb, this is a dumb argument, I thought, okay, as someone who knows him and at least understands what he's saying, maybe I can make this not a shouting match. And when you're both shouting and you're shouting past them, it's frustrating for me because it's like, I want you to attack Vadim's argument. His argument being, yes, Kamala has the moral imperative to make sure that Republicans lose. Yes, voters have the moral imperative, but in his mind, and this is stupid, I don't agree, in his mind, the moral imperative is, I will pressure Kamala to change on Gaza because otherwise she'll lose. And you didn't address that when in the shouting match. I'm like, God damn it, like, hold on, both of you guys, be quiet, like, please just address this. But I'm not your senior, and I'm also your co-host, so yes, I don't know if I should have the power to mute you, and I agree. If I can't moderate that way, maybe I should have talked to you about it before, but I really just wanted you to address each other. It was very frustrating. But that said, I was easier on him because of the, hey, going into this, I know all three of you, and even I started yelling at him a little bit when he started getting on the abundance shit, because I'm like, dude, come on, I'm even trying to like step back and be the neutral party in this conversation, and you're saying some shit that's pissing me off. Yes, I was treating him with kids' gloves compared to what I would do if this was someone I didn't know and there wasn't three other people that agreed with me that were all going to yell at him for me. So
Okay, so this approach I think is really good for like couples therapy. Okay. where one person or the other oftentimes has to just fucking throw themselves on the sword and just be like, you know what? I don't agree with the framing, but I'm just going to go along with it to get along here. But that is not my wife. That fucking guy is not my wife. And what actually happened was anytime I started to speak, he would jump in and start belligerently screaming.
yes.
And then when it would calm down and I would press him to make a certain point, he would either say, Ogre Boy, take
you
it
take
away,
this one,
or I don't know what I'm talking about on this topic, but let me recommend a book to you.
I was actually surprised.
That's what happened. When I would try to
Yeah.
make my points, he would just start screaming like a belligerent
Well, yeah,
child.
and I talked to him after, and it wasn't like his strategy to do this. Like genuinely, you saying like the argument, you are using dead kids as a cudgel or a shield, pissed him off so much that he was screaming. Like it wasn't even like that was his rhetorical strategy. Like he was genuinely that mad, and so it's like, yeah, that was
But
very unproductive.
I wouldn't say that to him if he didn't accuse me of
Oh, yeah. No.
manufacturing consent for a genocide. As soon as you tell me that I manufactured consent for a genocide, then I'm gonna fucking go in there and like take the gloves off and be like, fuck you.
Oh.
200,000 dead kids.
I'm
you
not
wanna fucking
saying
moralize
you
them?
did
Yeah.
anything wrong. I was just like, I really want you to address his argument, and that's why I was like, wait, please, can I just like get a word in so that you guys can stop talking past each other? It didn't work. But also, to be clear, there were moments where I was like, hold on, Hutch, let him finish, or I was like, hey, Vadim, let him get a word in. And that wasn't like, Hutch, you're talking too much, because if anyone talks a lot, it's Vadim, because he takes a while to get to a point. It's more of, okay, Vadim has not yet responded to the first thing you said, let's let him respond to that thing, not like, Hutch, oh my god, you're taking up too much time, just to be clear. There was one other thing, and also, in the same way that I was trying to elucidate his point there, which again I don't agree with, I did this for you. I remember at one point where you didn't say, it's not like you like flipped completely on Mamdani by saying, oh, like you're saying we should emulate Mamdani. You didn't say this before. I was like, no, what he was saying was Mamdani's strategy was really good, but his politics cannot be emulated on a national stage, like because that's what they were misinterpreting. I was trying to do mod crap. I'm not used to it, and if you don't want me to have the authority to mute you, I completely respect that. I probably shouldn't, but yeah.
Okay. You know what? I know it's a tough job. I know you're trying to, it's like herding cats sometimes.
Yeah.
I can appreciate that. I will think about this for a little bit longer. I was a little angry in the moment, but I can't
you
be
have
mad
every
at
right to
you.
be. I mean, if someone calls you a fucking genocide enabler, that's gonna piss me off. Like, I get it.
Anytime I get angry and compromised, I just imagine you from a profile view and just like that hourglass shape. And I just get happy. It
My
makes
ass
me
is getting
happy.
bigger too. I'm on a bulk.
I just realized now that I'm 8 minutes late to a prior engagement.
Now you realize that's just coincidentally
well,
the
it's funny.
moment.
Well, it's funny. So like I have my weekly Halo Infinite night on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. I just saw my buddy
Nice.
log in. I'm like, fuck. It's 8 minutes ago. I just want to say I sent you guys a link. Jamie Raskin has issued a statement about the Pam Bondi Burn book search history thing. So you should check that out since we talked about it earlier.
We'll
But-
read it
I'm
right
gonna
after
go
this.
too. I'm gonna go too. It was good talking to you boys though.
Oh,
Good chatting with
wait,
you
I want to
guys.
say last thing.
okay.
Bye, Josiah. But this is just the Hutch conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, let's say we have this on, and then it's like, okay, I want to be able to, like, I'm not the host, right? It's all four of us, but like, I guess sometimes introduce people, and like maybe there are points where I will try to moderate, especially when I know that you guys have the same opinions of me, and I don't need to jump in. Is there some sort of space for me to like try to moderate those at all, or be like, hey, like,
Oh, yeah, of
if I'm like,
course.
hey,
Yeah,
Hutch,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let him do his thing, like, because don't get me wrong, I love when you shout at each other. It's great. I was having a good time, but
No, I think everybody on the pod should probably wear that hat when need be. So if a conversation's getting super bogged down and you're really kind of circling the drain over and over again, then I think it's appropriate for the other anybody. It doesn't have to be you. It could be I or anybody else to jump in and steer the conversation in a more productive, less repetitive direction. So I don't have a problem with that conceptually at all. No, that's fine.
okay, cool. Well, we'll talk about it beforehand if that ever happens again. So that didn't come out of nowhere, because I had a feeling I might have to do it, but Yeah. Well, hold on. Do you want to? Can we read this thing? React together?
Yeah. So Jamie Raskin. This is the letter that he just wrote. Okay, so today, Rep. Jamie Raskin, ranking member of the House Committee on the Judiciary, issued the following statement after photographs revealed that Attorney General Pam Bondi has tracked the search history of members of Congress who have reviewed the unredacted Epstein files at the satellite office of the Department of Justice. Quote, the Department of Justice has required members of Congress who wish to review the slightly less redacted Epstein files to travel to a DOJ annex, sit at one of 4 DOJ-owned computers, use a clunky and convoluted software system provided by DOJ, and search for and read documents while DOJ staffers look over our shoulders. It is the perfect way to set up for DOJ to spy on members, review, monitoring, recording, and logging every document we choose to pull up. Today, photographs of Attorney General Bondi's burn book confirmed my suspicions. These photos show Bondi came to our hearing with a document entitled Jayapal Pramila Search History and then listed the documents my colleague, Rep. Jayapal, reviewed while at DOJ, apparently to prepare the Attorney General for any questions Rep. Jayapal might ask. Not only has the Department of Justice illegally withheld documents from Congress and the American people, not only has Attorney General Bondi failed to bring a single indictment against a single co-conspirator of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, but now Bondi and her team are spying on members of Congress, conducting oversight in yet another blatant attempt to intrude into Congress's oversight processes. It is an outrage that DOJ is tracking members' investigative steps undertaken to ensure that DOJ is complying with the Epstein File Transparency Act and using this information for Attorney General's embarrassing polemical purposes. DOJ must immediately cease tracking any member's searches, open up the Epstein review to senior congressional staff, and publicly release all files with all the survivors' information and only the survivors' information properly redacted as required by federal law. I will also be asking the DOJ Inspector General to open up an inquiry into this outrageous abuse of power. Let us use this humiliating disclosure about the Attorney General's work ethics to do a complete reset on the Epstein cover-up. End quote. That's it.
All right. Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, that dispels what chat was saying to me, which was this might be AI. Probably true. But yeah, this is concerning that I think, honestly, someone mentioned this, that Bondi probably just had these, not as a way to like intimidate or spy on what the members of Congress are looking into, but just as talking points, like to like, you know, like shut down conversation during the hearings. Like, oh, well, you're saying this to me. Well, look what you were looking up, you know, like stupid gotcha moments, but regardless, it needs to stop.
No, I think she was using it to prepare for the hearing she was using it as like a political tactic, but
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if it's illegal, you know, I mean, technically they're the DOJ, and if it's a closed system, then maybe the privacy laws don't apply in the same way. But the idea of an attorney general preparing for a subcommittee hearing like testimony, and then looking into what the specific like Democratic House members searched for, that is wild. That is wildly unethical if it's not illegal. And I would assume that this turns into somewhat of a miniature scandal that they'll have to like contend with. On top of the fact that I don't know if you saw some of the clips of her today, but wow, like that was not great. Have you seen the clip? Did you see the one?
Yeah,
did you see the one with,
right now?
with
I haven't seen it.
Ted Lieu?
No. Oh, yes, I did see the Ted Lieu one. That one popped up where he's questioning her about.
Wild.
Yeah.
She just freezes like a deer in headlights.
Well, because there's no defense, which is like, again, this is back to my Fifth Avenue comment. It's like when it gets really bad, when it's really obvious, sometimes they can deflect, but they have no answer for some of this stuff. And like I've encountered this in some of my debates with MAGA people, and it's like, even the Michael Knowles thing. It's like I bring up this crypto coin, and it's like his defense is, well, Trump got rich. It was valuable to someone, right? Ha, like playing it off as comedy. And like if I had him in a room and I could keep him on that subject, it's like, will you admit that the president scammed his supporters out of millions of dollars? And the only answer is yes. In fact, I don't know if I told you this. Michael Knowles has a cigar company, and one of the topics I proposed was cigars cause cancer, because he denied this in one of our conversations. And his producer essentially told me, oh yeah, we threw that one out because it's so obviously true that there's no argument. because they know it's just like these things are just bold-faced lies. They have no defense, and when you really confront them with it and they have no escape and they're in front of a fucking congressional hearing, they just freeze up because they're like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? You're just right. I'm caught. I'm lying. That gives me some of the optimism that I think you're holding on to. It's like you can't face the music. You can't keep running when it's this bad.
Yeah, that's the other thing I think that goes in my favor in terms of making the case for optimism is the fact that when you staff your cabinet with a bunch of sycophants, people that are willing to debase themselves, abandon all morals and principles, behave in a way that is totally unscrupulous. If that's who you staff your cabinet with instead of, people that are effective at their jobs, you're going to get a clown show, which is what predictably has happened for this entire administration so far. I don't know if you watch the monthly cabinet meetings that they do, but people watch that and they can see it for what it is because it's
President
just
Trump,
so
you've been
obvious
so
what it is.
good this month, and we just wanted to congratulate you on our exceptional performance. And the economy is doing so great, President Trump. We love you so. Those ones, oh my god, I can't believe that stuff.
It's
insane.
jarring to watch as an American because you watch this kind of stuff coming out of North Korea.
Yeah.
And as an American, you're like, thank fucking God I live in America. This country's fucking dope and we don't do that here. And then they're just doing that. South Park clowned on it. I think people do see that and they think that they can project strength and success. And they think that's going to be enough to fool people into cheering for them and giving them political power. And they're obviously wrong. I have somewhat of a low opinion of American voters from time to time, but at least we know they're not that fucking stupid to fall for that kind of a stunt event that he does. These monthly, it's so insufferable. They're 3.5 hours because he'll open with an hour and a half of rambling. And then it goes down the list and each one of them are trying to fit as many words that they possibly can to ingratiate themselves with him so they can position themselves for future success, maybe leverage that for a cushy media job or book deal after the administration or advance their political career. And it's just so fucking sad and pathetic. All of them just spend the time lavishing praise on him and people see that for what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's there's still some rationale left. I do have some hope, but he does deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. Let's be real. Come on, 8 wars. Oh,
maybe,
I wanted to
maybe.
last thing. I wanted to congratulate you, or not congratulate. Let's just say praise. I saw your review of that video. That's the Hutch takedown. What is his name? Crimes New Roman. I was like, oh, what this is going to show all of Hutch's awful. I think the one thing he got you on was oh, you didn't know the difference between a stimulus and a tax credit, and then someone told you, and you're like, oh, now I know. But everything else was just this is there was no criticism. It was really bad. I really was expecting more from that. So that was.
It was kind of
really
like a Vadim strat. It was I'm not going to tell you why Hutch is wrong, but read Queer Theory and this other book. It was pretty ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you care about the little guy because you're for abundance, and the Koch brothers fund that sometimes. So no. Now I don't know what abundance is though. So, but you're bad for it. Okay. Well, thank you.
Yep.
I'll never mute you again. I love you, buddy. See you on Monday and have a great stream.
Love you too. Take it easy, buddy. Love you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, chat. I'm going to turn this off in just a second, but just so you know, my video is still in the works. They just keep releasing Epstein stuff. I'm sorry it's taking so long. It's because of Epstein, and there's new stuff that I have to rewrite it, but I'm trying, and I'm going to try to have it. Well, actually, I'm contractually obligated to have a video out by the end of the month, so it's going to happen. I just don't know if it'll be the Epstein one. Anyway, I love you guys. Type 1 to end the deep state. Hope you enjoyed that conversation. I will clip the Hutch part out. That's the only part of the video that I upload and put it on the VODs channel. If you missed it, maybe I will just include random Game of Thrones ramblings and just timestamp it so you can skip past it. Hutch is AI. He's not a real person. But yeah, have a good rest of your day. I don't know. I might stream tomorrow. Otherwise, I'm working on my vid. So you guys have a great rest of your